You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty, we are live. What's going on? What's going on?
Morning.
Good morning, humans and robots from all over the world. You're listening to the Monero Moon Boy Show. No, just kidding.
Far from it. Yeah, it's afternoon for me over here. It's around 5 o'clock. Still in Portugal.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's not quite the normal time. It's 12, not 11.
I know, it's a little
good
weird.
Afternoon.
It's weird. Oh, yeah. Am I delayed? I think I'm a little delayed.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Yeah, so Portugal's been awesome. I was in southern Portugal last week when I came on, and now I'm further north along the coast. I mean, anywhere you are in Portugal, you're basically along the coast. But further up north, the water is frigid. Sun is hot, clear, beautiful skies, hot sun, hot beach, cold, frigid water, which is not. I kind of like it. But I wasn't expecting. I knew the water would be like a little cold, but it's like even colder than I expected. And actually, down south where we were, the water was almost just as cold.
I've always been surprised at how high latitude Europe is and how temperate it is for it's like the same latitude as New York, Maine,
exactly,
southern Canada, and somehow they're just so temperate.
Yeah, there's some stream obviously I forget the name, obviously not the Gulf Stream, but there's a different, it's like the Canary Stream, I think, Canary Island or something, or I don't know. There's basically some stream where it's bringing, essentially you're getting deep sea water that's coming up. So cold deep sea water effectively is what's going on along the coast of Portugal.
The west side of continents tends to be, at least in the northern hemisphere, the west, or even in the southern hemisphere, the west side of the continent has colder water just because of the way the circulation of currents works.
Exactly.
On the east coast, you get the warmer water from the equator after it's spent, all this time transiting the equator. So you get more rain, warmer temperatures, warmer water. On the west coast, you get the colder water.
Exactly. And the winds are always blowing essentially offshore in Portugal. So they say it blows the warmer water. It pushes the warmer water out, which is interesting as well. But yeah, basically the end, the winds are blowing onshore. But the end result is cold water. It's it's shocking because I swim in New York all the time. And like you said, you would think this would be warmer. New York's a little further from the equator. The beach is, same ocean, it's the Atlantic. But yeah, it's a little more chilly over here. But it's been beautiful nonetheless. Food is amazing. I was in Portugal for Monero.Town a couple of years ago, only in Lisbon, and now I'm kind of seeing the rest of the country. It's quite nice. What happened to Shortwave? Did we lose him?
Yeah, I don't know. He disappeared.
Shit. All right, yeah, Shortwave's supposed to be co-hosting today. We'll see if he can jump back on. I guess he's having some technical difficulties.
He heard about you talking about Portugal. He's like, that's it. Buying my tickets. I'm going.
He's out. He's on his way. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's like, oh, here we go. I'll bring him up. Shortwave, what's going on? We lost you.
Yeah, my entire laptop decided it was going to just freeze for some reason. No explanation, just kind of boom, gone.
Damn.
I guess it had a kernel panic or something.
We're back.
I know it's not the blue screen of death because I know you're not on Windows, but you didn't get a kernel panic, did you?
It didn't do anything. It just kind of sat there and froze and did absolutely nothing. Like my audio went away and my mouse wouldn't work and nothing. I had to completely restart it.
Do you know the trick how to get to a different TTYV in case sometimes
isn't Control Alt F2 or something? Control Alt F3?
It's Control Alt F2. So sometimes you have to hit that the function button or the start button or whatever, depending on your alt situation. Because sometimes the F2 button is actually like demoted, and if you haven't
I've turned that off, thankfully.
Okay, yeah, then it's just Control Alt F2 or F1, and you can get to just like a raw console that has nothing to do with your visual environment. Sometimes if your visual environment freezes up, you can do that. You can kill it with like pkill or something like that, and then restart it, like restart light DM or whatever system you're using. So it's a little fucking nerd trick that you can use sometimes. People think it's magic.
Hey guys, I have a bad connection on my end. Is it okay for you guys talking back? Because you guys are coming in and out for me a lot. I can barely hear
interesting. No, we can hear you really well. Like I haven't heard any cuts or breaks.
Yeah, you're coming through to us fine, but if we're coming through to you with a problem, then yeah, we can talk back and forth as long as my laptop doesn't freeze again, which that was weird. Never had to do that before.
Yeah, I can't even understand you guys. Go ahead, let's go ahead and run the price report actually, and I'll try to fix my internet.
Okay.
As we do that.
All right, let's do it.
Here we go.
I'm not seeing I think Doug dropped out here. Well, all right. I guess we're not going to have the intro on the price report. That's fine. I'll go ahead and just get started. Although we need to get my charts into the show. I don't know if anyone. I'm sharing them. I don't know if Shortwave. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't do anything with your charts because I'm not actually I'm not actually in the admin section. I'm just a regular viewers on stage segment or whatever.
Well, shit.
Person.
I don't know what we're gonna do now. All right. Well,
so Doug is the only one with the admin permissions.
Were you guys able to? Did the segment even run?
No, we didn't see the segments, and we got to put my charts on screen, and then.
Oh my god, I cannot hear anything.
You know what? I'm just gonna type in the.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to Exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
All right. Doug, are you still with us? Gonna have to assume.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Hey, check the chats. If you can't hear us, check the chats. We can talk in there. The only thing I would need is for you to put the charts up, and if you see the the XMR chats when they pop up, it'd be good to put them in the show as well. Well, at least we got the intro.
Just drop out. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's coming in and out trying to see if they can. Hey, Doug, check the comments.
Yeah.
Check the comments.
Okay.
Say if we can't communicate, like if we're having problems talking live, then check the comments.
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we could hear you the whole time.
All right. Oh, you can. Okay. All right. I'm gonna try to play. Yep. It's not even my connection's so bad I can't even play the intro.
We got the intro. The intro definitely played.
Oh shit! Okay, didn't even see that. All right, so Bawdy, go ahead, take it away, and then we'll get news up here. We hear a lot less from me today. Okay, here we go.
Hey, all right. Let's go over to the Monero tab, and let's See, can you maximize the charts on the stream there? Basically take away the all of our icons on the left so that viewers can see the full chart. Maybe we lost Doug. Let me go one more time, send him a message here on the left. Maybe he can't hear me. Oh, there he goes. Okay. All right. Excuse me. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and just knock out the price report. Nothing really too crazy happened this weekend or over the week, so there's really not much to talk about, honestly. Starting with Monero, obviously, we effectively had a little bit of a movement towards the upside. Let's see, let's make sure that I get all this right. Yeah. So when we got off the horn, things have basically been flat. I mean, like super flat. Like in the last time we talked on Saturday, price was maybe, I don't know, probably like 324, and it's still basically like 323. So yeah, price has barely moved at all, a little bit down, a little bit up, which is kind of, that's kind of what I'm expecting here. I don't expect the next big leg up for Bitcoin or crypto to happen immediately. I really, I do see some consolidation in the cards. This bull market is also not going to look, it already hasn't looked like other bull markets, but you're not going to get the crazy mad gains on Bitcoin and most of crypto in the ways that you got them in 2021 and 2017. Like those days are over, guys. It's long gone. In fact, it's kind of something I really kind of want to talk to you guys about to understand where things have gone in the cycle, like where we are in the bigger picture. Effectively, we've entered the long game. We've entered a situation where, the diminishing returns have come in. And the low-hanging fruit, the easy juice to squeeze has been squeezed, whether that's in a price sense or whether that's in a development sense. Now there's obviously there's going to be coins here and there that make mad gains. I'm not saying there will never be another 100x coin, right? That would be silly to say. What I am saying though is that, the big boys are involved. They've been involved for years and years now. The major projects have pumped. There will still be some that do big gains, but they're going to be harder to come by. And so if you've got these dollar signs of riches in your eyes about trading shitcoins to glory and success and fame, if you couldn't do it by now, you're probably not going to do it. Like, let's be real. If you didn't catch that wave in 2021, you've got this one last wave to catch, and then it's over, right? Like this is the last one, guys. After that, it's like pure steady state, diminished returns. Again, Monero is going to go up as people adopt it, as it gets used, as the network gets stronger and gets better. Monero's price is going to go up, and we could even have explosive growth to the top side merely because of how suppressed it's been. And so if any of those forces correct back to normal, Monero could see big price movements. But I wouldn't expect 100x price movements, and I don't even want 100x price movements in Monero. That's unhealthy, and the only possible way that could be justified is if people are actually buying and using it, like some mass adoption wave happens. Sorry, excuse me. Got some phlegm in my throat this morning. All right, anyways. So, yeah, okay, so that's Monero price. We're like kind of flat and sideways. I don't really have any opinions on where we're going here in terms of, Monero's US dollar fiat based price, which I know Shortwave gasps every time we look at the XMR USD ratio. I'm sorry, Shortwave. So what are we going to look at then? Monero's relative price to Bitcoin, right? How good is it doing next to the big abusive daddy of a main coin of I don't know, not a stable coin, but anyways. Yeah, so we've got this downtrend, kind of like concerted downtrend, that not too surprising. Like ultimately, I expect this downtrend to continue just a little bit more. Maybe we could hit some kind of support right there in that area. This chart, honestly, wouldn't be too surprising at some point to come touch this lower standard deviation area. It doesn't have to be immediately, right? Could do kind of like this, and then a little pump and like that, and then maybe down here. When Bitcoin decides to finally pump later. And when I say when Bitcoin decides to finally pump, I mean when they finally decide to pump Bitcoin some more, whether that's through M2 money printing or other means of liquidity expansion, right? Like they're going to pump, right? They're going to pump liquidity into the markets. But anyways, nothing exciting happening here with Monero, guys. I'm sorry. No price excitement. I don't know, Monero versus ETH, not doing so great either, but still flat from the last time we talked. So, all right, let's look at the crypto. Let's look at the cryptos and see if anyone wants to talk about the cryptos. Starting with Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin had a little bit of a deepy dip right here, but again, nothing big. What is this, a 4 hour? Yeah, so I don't know. I guess kind of hit one of those spots. Really, the main spot is this guy, but you don't even want to get there, right? You get down there and you start thinking, oh, no, maybe it's over, right? Maybe you've got to come and visit some lower level. With the way that this bull market is unfolding, guys, don't be surprised if we visit maybe not 100K, but like 105, 110, right? Don't be surprised if we visit down to those levels again before things can go up. I mean, we did have a breakout, but this breakout wasn't all that impressive, right? Like, I mean, it did what we thought it would do, right? We got, I guess, 15% there. But again, with this theme of diminishing returns, let's look at this breakout relative to the other breakouts of this sort of, I don't know, I guess long trend bull market since about 2023, right? We bottomed, and I mean, to call it a bull market, maybe that's a little bit, I don't want to say exaggeration, but all right, let's look at the last breakout. We got 62% on the last breakout from like the sort of like breakout point. Right now, we got 15% right on the last breakout. Before that, going back here, let's move back to, I don't know, 2024, 2023. Right. So when was the last breakout? That one was another 65%. Right. This other one here, we said 61%. I don't know. We go all the way back to 2023. Maybe we could say like 73%. Now, maybe this breakout is just getting started. That's possible. I don't want to be impatient here and pretend like, hey, it's over. All I'm saying is that I have the feel that at best things can kind of like meander up, meander onto the upside over the course of months. A little down, a little up, a little bit of gasping here and there, but but overall, like, okay, we are in a bull market, but again, I'm just trying to impress upon you that this bull market is not going to be like the last one where we go from 20K to 60K in short order, right? Like, let's take a look at this last bull market. And we'll look at it from the point of breakout, right? So just from the point of, hey, okay, we recovered from when the economy caught a cold in 2021. And then we broke out at like 480%, guys. That's like, I mean, that's just massive. What am I looking at there? BTC. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, where we broke out from 10,000 up to almost 60,000, right? Like, that's not happening. We are not breaking out from, I don't know, let's just say that this is the breakout point right here at 68,000. You are not getting a 5x from 68,000 up to like 300,000. It's not happening. So anyways, sorry to be a negative Nancy here this morning. I don't mean to be. I just want people to understand that the game is different. You're not, same with the shitcoins, right? You're not getting the kinds of crazy gains that you had in the past. Here's total. Let's go to total 3, because that's the total cryptocurrency market cap minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum. And right now, shitcoins are in aggregate, $1 trillion, guys. Remember when we had $1 trillion total market cap before? We're like, wow, this is amazing. And now we've got $1 trillion of just shitcoins. Yeah, and these things are used. I mean, people use them for payments for like little stuff, right? Online, but like they're not massive parts of the economy by any means. Monero's got the darknets obviously and dominates there. Anyways, let's go to the weekly and check this guy out on the weekly. Yeah, so
price your items in Shiba Inu.
yeah, exactly. Like the Shiba Inus are going to come fewer, farther and fewer between from here on out. So, yeah, I mean, again, this just, if you think like, hey, it's time for the next bull market, let me just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope that I can just get any bullshit. That's probably not how it's going to work. There will be a moment where that kind of happens. But that's just not going to be like it was last time. It didn't matter what you bought in 2021. As long as you bought any project that was relatively new and was kind of like, supported by feelingly the big boys, you were going to make crazy gains. And even other coins like the Richard Hart coin that he launched, even that stuff was just gonna massively pump. You're not going to get that this cycle. And it's becoming clear. I think everyone kind of, just in case you hadn't fully put that together in your mind, but I think everyone already has this intuition. So I'm just articulating what you kind of already know. So yeah, it looks like maybe we'll still get our alt season kind of ish, right? Like there's no reason why this chart has to find a support here. There's no reason why this chart can't come down another 11%. And over the long term, maybe that can't go down another 25% on the Bitcoin dominance. And that's massive, right? When Bitcoin loses that many percents of dominance, we're talking like $1 trillion of relative valuation change there. So don't expect that to happen immediately. Like this thing could easily just take its time, kind of doing something like this, and maybe, right, it could take some time, but we could be going into next year looking for, alt season. It might be this like very slow event that barely feels like it's here, even as Bitcoin dominance sort of wanders towards the downside. And maybe a lot of that could be driven by ETH potentially. ETH had this crazy, like fallout and then come back. So, I mean, from a US dollar standpoint, Ethereum chart actually didn't really do anything too outlandishly crazy. It did get hit much worse by the macro crash slash scare than Bitcoin did, but it did sort of come down to exactly that level you'd expect it to, right? This is the place you expect support, the standard deviations. And now it's back up here at the top side. This is a good pattern overall for ETHUSD in general. And because Ethereum is such a foundation of obviously the coin that we all love so much, Tether, so that the United States can affect its power projection into other locales like China and Latin America and Russia, places where the dollar, I mean, it's valuable, guys, like it really is. Anyway, so maybe the Bitcoin Ethereum ratio will come back here. I don't know. This chart looks way whack to me, but whatever. What are you going to do? Maybe this thing could come towards the top side. I'm not really holding my breath for that anymore. All right, shitcoins. Did anyone do anything good this week? Has anyone pumped? No.
We do have a super chat shitcoin question.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we have
from Tari Enjoyer.
Go ahead.
Tari Enjoyer tipped 0.1 Monero. When Fluffy Ponzi do Tari pump?
I've been forgetting to look at. That's a good point, Tari Enjoyer. Enjoy it with an E. Shouldn't that be two O's?
That's Minotari, by the way, on your like coin geckos and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's go to. Oh, I already have it pulled up here. If I don't throw my mouse away. All right. Minotari. Dude, I would like to know why it's Minotari and not just Tari. Like, did someone front run?
When you're starting up Tari, it actually says starting Minotari node. So like when you're actually starting the application, that's what it says. So maybe that's why.
But I mean, like, I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Rick wanted to name it Minotari. He always referred to it as Tari. He never referred to it as Minotari back in the day. So did someone front run him and just like grab that name up? Or is it just that there's so many goddamn coins that Tari was taking? Like they got every 4-letter combination. There's only 10,000 of them. So, well, no, actually I'm retarded. I'm wrong. That would be 26 to the power of 4. So there's a way more than yeah, never mind. Anyways, yeah, I don't know when Minotari is going to pump. It's wow. I said earlier, hey, but listen, this is the situation when it comes to new coins. God, people are so impatient. You guys have to understand, like, when you buy some brand new project and it pumps real quick and then it dumped and it's still early on, it's just a few months, you have to buy that thing with an amount of your net worth that you don't care about. Like it could be 1%. Maybe 1% is too much for you to lose. Maybe 1% is nothing to you. But something that you don't care about, if it goes to 0, you're like, fuck it. Let's go bowling, dude. Right? Like, and then you just let it sit there. Okay. You don't even think about it. Right. Don't refresh the page. Don't come back in a week. Like come back in a month and be like, okay, well, whatever. Come back in 6 months and then, wait until you start hearing other people talk about it. Forget about it. And then someone's like, oh yeah, have you heard of this new coin? And you're like, oh shit, that's right. I have that coin. And then go check out the price, right? You just leave it because new coins can go up like 5x, 10x, 20x, 100x, right? Contrary to what I was just saying previously, some of these new coins can actually do that. It's going to be more and more rare, but it can happen. But if you don't allow that to happen, right, then you're like hurting yourself. So the kind of the rule of thumb is, is it life-changing money? If it is, then you need to start selling. But anyways, like otherwise, like just don't be on the chart over and over again. Just buy it, forget about it. Because it can really go up. I don't know if Tari can or will go up. Guys, I also don't believe that there's a huge market for private smart contracts at the moment. They're for private tokens, private non-fungible assets, which is kind of like my complaint about about Xano. Like, I just don't see where's the demand for that. Like, we barely have enough demand for Monero as it is. Like, and we're gonna add on this other stuff. Anyways, okay, we have another one from Kim.
I bought 33 Monero worth of Tari, and it's like, if it goes to 0, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it goes 100x, and then you're like, oh, cool. That's a nice payday, right? It's a nice windfall. I think we also had one from Anon. I don't, and it's for Doug, so maybe we'll save it for later. But I just want to point out that a guy named Anon tipped 50 cents.
Yeah, I saw that one. I just hadn't read it yet because of the fact that it was for Doug, so I was going to wait on that.
Okay, and then we have Kim here as well. So Kim tipped 32 cents. Question for Bawdy about the price report. Where do you get the prices from and why? Is there such a thing as a well-defined price? For example, someone might want to buy a thing without KYC and be willing to pay more. What is the real price of XMR? Well, if you want to know the real price of XMR, there's a few ways to find out. You can check what the exchanges are listing them for. You can, some exchanges have slight divergences. We actually look at that. Let's go here. We can look at the price divergences. These are very, very small at most. We see these at like 1% now. I think this is volume adjusted. So let's remove the volume adjustment. Now, in terms of, what is something worth? Well, something's only worth what people are willing to pay for it. So if your privacy and non-KYC is worth something to you and you're willing to pay for it, then I guarantee you could find some Monero bros that are willing to sell you, privately for cash, or gold or something else. You could go to all of the different like places that have been set up for this, right? So if you're looking to buy gold backs or if you're looking to sell gold backs, or maybe you have some gold coins or silver, go to xmrbazaar.com and you can list, right? Say, hey, I want to sell you this thing, and I'm willing to pay you more than the market price for it, for the Monero, more than the exchange price, the exchange listed price. You can also highly recommend going to RetoSwap, which is, it's basically like our BISC. Probably, I don't know if you've heard of BISC, but it's a peer-to-peer decentralized swap platform that was developed over many years and is now functional. And I think we've got, I don't know what our volumes are, but yeah, that would be like your street value price, right? If you go to RetoSwap or RetoSwap, that's going to be your street price of Monero for the people that are like actually wanting to trade with Venmo or Zelle or cash or whatever, right? Like, there's a bunch of different ways you can buy it. So I hope that's a comprehensive enough answer. Shortwave, did I miss anything there? I'm sure I missed something.
As a general rule, you can probably expect to pay about 10% above whatever the exchanges say, because the exchanges are, you have to give up your firstborn child and a kidney, and things like RetoSwap is going to be a little bit more expensive in price, like probably about 10%, but you're not going to have to give up all that information to them.
I feel like I was checking the Monero price, and it kept, I kept seeing that it was like less than 5% typically. So I think there's enough liquidity. Go ahead.
I think that also depends a lot on the payment method. So if you're doing like cash by mail or money orders, you might be able to get it for, 5 or something like that. But if you're going to do like PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, especially things that can be reversed like that, you're probably going to pay somewhere between 10 and 20.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. If RetoSwap guys are listening, you should put up a new screenshot, because 163.88 is not the price here. The other thing too, it would be cool, guys, like RetoSwap, y'all should have, like, one thing that all exchanges do is they have like a little interactive chart that shows you what the current prices of stuff are without necessarily being the full thing. So it would be really cool if you guys could actually put a chart here that represents the average Monero price.
There is one of those, and I can't remember. I want to say it's like Monero Markets something. Oh God, I'm trying to remember that website now.
I just mean that, this is like the official site that you're going to go to if you want to download the RetoSwap client, and start using RetoSwap. And so it would be nice if you had like a little sort of mock interface here that kind of shows you, oh, here's what our chart, feels like. It's cool to like post a screenshot, but now you're way outdated on the price 163.88. So if someone comes here that doesn't really know, they're gonna be like, wait, why is it so cheap here? And maybe they'll figure it out, but it's just like, it's a little piece of cognitive dissonance, that happens in your head when you're like, oh wait, this is just a picture. Well, okay, where's the actual price?
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's just better. This is a slick site though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like this is a nice looking website. So that would be the only slight criticism, constructive criticism that I would have for them. So anyways, but I didn't make the site, so obviously I can't claim to be helping out. I don't know if I could say that I'm helping in any kind of way. But
their source code for the website is on GitHub at the ReToSwap repository. So you could actually, if you wanted to, you could add that to their site and then submit it as a pull request.
I'm going to vibe code the shit out of that, bro. No, I'm probably not. I'm actually working on a bunch of other projects. All right. Let's see. Do we have anything else here? Yeah, we got Kim's question. Yeah, onward we go. Okay. Oh yeah, we're looking at shitcoins. Nothing happened to shitcoins. No one, like we are kind of like sort of entering this this altcoin season. We need a different name for it, like altcoin era. Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. Whatever. Nothing's happening here. AVAX seems to have outperformed everybody to the slightest degree here. Whatever. Link was up there for a while. It's still kind of up there, but yeah. All right. And then Monero, we're basically just flat down here. So yeah, this all has the feeling of trying to induce liquidity into the market, right? They're trying to induce people to get excited again to start buying. And I'm here to tell you, be careful about doing that, right? Like, don't be just dumping shitloads of money into projects that you're like, okay, it's time, right? Like, be very cautious here, guys. So, okay, that's crypto. Let's look at Bitcoin versus NVIDIA. I don't know why I wanted to look at this morning, but yeah. So if we look at this over the long term, let's just go to the weekly, right? So down here on the x-axis, you can see that basically since 2021, like, if Bitcoin is dying to NVIDIA, just like Bitcoin is dying to Dogecoin, hyper Dogecoinization, that's where it's at, bro. Minus 90%, right? Bitcoin versus NVIDIA. So you hear the maximalists tell you how everything else is a foolish investment, but then you're like, yeah, but you lost 90% of your value to NVIDIA. Now, from the bottom to the top, they've gotten about 2x of that back, but they've given about 30% of that back since Q1. So anyways, yeah, I mean, like, in terms of the craze, where's everything going? It's all pivoted towards AI, and even if you're pivoting towards AI now, you're like late to that game, right? Like the AI pivot really was like 2022, 2023, right? That was the AI pivot. AI is probably still going to outperform crypto, like in general, NVIDIA and semiconductor stocks and GPUs, stuff like that. It's slowing down. It's starting to slow down, but it's still a big deal. They are also reaching diminishing returns in terms of what they can produce, what they can provide. And it's very poignant when you try and do certain things. I won't go off into a tangent there, but anyways, let's look at the macro. Dixie dollar index didn't really do much either. Again, we had the sort of bump up from this. This is literally like a 2 decades long trend line here at the bottom. Again, we won't go over that on this show today. I think Doug's trying to keep it a little short today for he's on vacation. Let's see here. Oil is slightly raising an eyebrow for me right here. This is oil's ready to break down again. So I don't know. Like, that's, if oil's breaking down again, that's me saying, do we have to put the macro crash back on the table? What I didn't look at, I need to make a note. I need to look at the Trump tariffs and how that's going in the courts. I guess I've been focused on the Tornado Cash trial. Fucking kangaroo court bullshit show trial, whatever. Yeah, but anyways, the Trump tariffs are also on trial. At least one of the major pieces of the framework that they use to implement them is on trial. So yeah, if the strike down gets upheld, then that actually should spell more gains for the market. But at the moment, oil it's looking dicey. Maybe, knowing what they do with oil and knowing how they juice and squeeze the market. So you've got this area right here. Okay, I just circled that. Oil basically above, let's just call it 65. Oil is currently like at 65, just below it. So it's possible that instead of riding in the 65 to sort of 68 support zone for months, maybe they can get oil, instead of just like macro crashing again, right? Maybe they can get oil to ride in this sort of like 60 to 65 area, right? So in other words, that would look something maybe like this, right? Maybe they could keep it, doing something like that. If they can keep it stable, then okay. If we start seeing oil below 60, that's when I start to get worried again about the next macro crash, or about a continuation macro crash, right? Everything's been about the news cycle these days, like for the past months. Everything is news cycle. So You know, we got that macro crash timeline nailed down pretty good from January. I don't feel comfortable trying to say, you know, when the next one's coming up here. It's too hard to say, guys. We got the courts involved. We've got a whole bunch of other bullshit going on. Everything's up in the air and everything's news cycle based. We're gonna have to stay nimble, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to trade like fucking degens and listen to the news cycle. So for now, oil's fine, but again, sort of raising an eyebrow in this zone here, where you really want it to be a little bit higher than where it is now. Nothing to be concerned about just yet, but you know, nothing to be excited about. Let's look at gold. Gold. So again, we talked about this last week. I'm going to keep reinforcing this. This purple line is my, oh my God, that's a top. That's a big top kind of line. Now, because of all the money printing and the liquidity expansion, and because the stock market now appears to be wanting to beat trend lines that are decades old. Let's go to the monthly time frame so that you can see this. This trend line goes all the way back to the 1929 euphoria peak, the first time the Federal Reserve blew a bubble. That trend line goes back 100 years, guys. And so we are now at the precipice of beating this trend line. All right, so we connected that to the .com. That's where this trend line comes from. Beating that trend line is just crazy. It's insane, guys, to think that we're going to actually get above this line and then stay above it. That is an exponent on top of an exponent, technically speaking. Like, this chart is more than exponential. So anyways, the point is that if they're, we've got the liquidity, we've got the expansion, everyone wants the mad gains, everyone wants their retirement, boomers, insert your meme, whoever you hate the most. Could be anybody, any group of people that people are prone towards hating, that are in vogue to hate these days. You could hate any of them and blame them, whatever. Blame central bankers. The point is that with all that extra liquidity, you start to wonder, okay, gold actually might perform. It might break my model, is what I'm saying, right? Gold could break my model. Normally, this model would say, this is your top, maybe at best a little bit of, this, and then down, right? But given the liquidity situation, given the inflation, it would not surprise me to ride this line up over some long period of time. Could even do this, right? We could come back and then get back to this line. So, but point is, the mad gains for gold that we saw for the past few years, where I've been like, gold is about to break out, boys and girls. Those days are also, for the meantime, coming to a pause. And I don't think gold is going to like 4,000, 5,000 anytime in short order, at least. It's going to take some time for gold to do that, but gold could continue to push, to knock on that glass ceiling that the cabal has imposed upon it. Reverse repos, nothing to see here, just sideways and flat. I'm not sure how relevant that is for us anymore. I would actually be, we used to look at the reverse repos all the time, but we're looking at oil now. Like, that's our tell. That's still our alpha. I still don't think people understand that oil leads the way, right? We knew that macro crash was incipient in the week or two ahead of time because oil had already crashed. So that's our alpha, guys. Just keep a look at that. If oil is dropping below 60 again, you need to start getting worried and start protecting yourself. So that's side note for everybody. Let's see. We already kind of looked at stocks, right? S&P positive throughout the week. NASDAQ positive. Let's see. Oh, here's one we hadn't looked at for a while. Single home families, single family homes, single home families. I guess it's the same. Yeah, June. So June is usually the peak, and yeah, here we are, slightly higher than last June. This is good. This chart is not moving up with the kind of speed that it was moving up through. So if we look here, like, just draw a trend line right there. It's purple because I was messing around earlier. All right, there's our trend line. You'll notice that trend line is steeper than the current peaks that are happening. So that's good, because housing is already too unaffordable. And especially, like, if housing isn't, God, guys, if you think you're going to be investing in houses, like, you're going to have problems unless it's an extremely well-built house, because you have maintenance costs. So houses have to go up at a certain rate to offset those maintenance costs for you over the years. And that maintenance cost is also opportunity and time cost if you like do it yourself. So just know that, like, it's going to be hard to like flip houses and make money in that market. Again, you're sort of coming at the tail end of that whole hype. You'll need to find some other investment.
Houses suck,
man. Bro, one of the reasons it was easy for me to sell my house back in the day and buy Bitcoin was because of all the maintenance. I was just like, are you shitting me? Like, this thing wasn't built that long ago, and here's all these corners that got cut and all these like little problems. Like, why don't we build houses better, bigger, stronger? Maybe not bigger, but at least stronger and better. built to last instead of built to have to freaking replace everything all the time. And I know that's like some of that's unavoidable, but just seeing it firsthand, I was like, this is this is not
the American dream is owning a home, and I've got to tell you that's bullshit. Like I'm living in this house now, and oh my god, it makes me miss renting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with renting, it's just none of it's not your problem. Somebody else's problem.
That and your Monero, the amount of house you can buy for your Monero is going to continue to increase. So,
yeah. Actually, why don't we do this? This is dubious.
Let's hold your Monero and.
What is the security info on this? Economics USSS FHP.
Okay.
Oh man, I think you're coming in and out. I'm sort of kind of not hearing you.
Oh, great.
All right, I think I'm getting you a little bit better now. Maybe it could just be me. It's possible. XMR USD is not in the economy. All right. Let's take a look at this and see how housing prices. How much do houses cost in terms of Monero? Well, housing prices are actually going down in terms of Monero. We're on the. Let's go to the monthly. This chart only makes sense on the monthly. Yeah, I mean, look at that, right? It's costing you less than less Monero over time to buy a house. So there you go. Our stable coin, right? Stable even to house prices. Monero is stable even if you compare it against housing prices. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Macro. I said we'd start looking at velocity. Honestly, I think the reason I stopped looking at velocity is because velocity is ironically slow moving. Yeah. As long as this thing doesn't start moving up again, we won't have inflation dangers. Let's see. M2 money supply continues going up, but that's, again, these are delayed statistics. The unemployment, I was kind of hoping we'd get some new unemployment numbers by now. It looks like we're going to get some next week. So I guess I can report to you guys whatever happens next week on the unemployment. But that unemployment is a good thing for us to sort of double check our, hey, macro crash thesis is off the table for now. If it stays flat or goes down, or really even stays below the 4.2 area, right? It doesn't go above this flat top, then we're still stable, right? We still say, hey, macro stable, and macro stable equals up, right? It doesn't have to equal up next week, but it does mean up overall. It doesn't have to mean up violently, but it just means, moving higher, right? Just drifting higher. Stock market's drifting higher. Again, let's look at Bitcoin crypto one more time. I want to give you a good idea of where you might expect this thing to go over the next week. A few weeks ago, I think it was either 2 or 3 weeks ago, I said, hey, the name of the game here is going to be to play inside of kind of a range bound area. Yeah, so Bitcoin did take a dip, right? Bitcoin did move down. So after some amount of ranging, Bitcoin did take a tumble, and that was that this week? Was that? Yeah. That was yesterday. I guess I wasn't paying attention, guys. I missed it. Did that happen overnight? Yeah. Okay. There we go. That happened like late at night. Yeah. Okay. So that was just the 2 hour. So we got a dip here overnight on Bitcoin, but it's back again. It's back in that range. Let's go to the 1 hour. The fact that it dipped down and then came back up.
Hey guys, just checking in for a second. Buddy, can you hear me decently?
Yeah, we can. I'm basically done, bro. So I'm pretty much done here with.
Okay, good. No, yeah, go ahead. Wrap up, finish up. I was just going to ask, though, too, did you see the large 80,000 Bitcoin sale that happened? Curious.
Yeah, actually.
Thoughts are on that.
Was it a sale or did they just move?
They moved, they moved it to Galaxy Digital, and then Galaxy Digital sold them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what this is then. That's interesting. Wow, so 2.5% movement on an $80,000 Bitcoin sale. So what is that? 80? Oh, I can't do public math. It's 80. Let me just do it in a spreadsheet. 80,000 times 100,000.
Like 8 billion.
8 billion is 8 billion. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So 8 billion
like
sold. 2.5% down.
Hardly move the market at all.
That's pretty good. Like that actually shows pretty good liquidity. I mean, you have to know that someone with that much money didn't just like call up Galaxy Digital a couple days ago and be like, hey, I think I want to sell my Bitcoin now, right? They've probably been coordinating this for months. So yeah, they probably knew it was coming. And the point is that they probably want to figure out how to absorb that into the market without having to crash the price too badly. So it's possible, you know, like it's possible that something like this, where you sort of tapered off for a period of time, it's possible that that's actually a reflection of them sort of selling slowly into the market over time, and then you actually saw the transfer take place, like get effectuated, you know. So maybe Galaxy Digital was selling ahead of time, knowing that was coming, and then they actually did maybe the I don't know how they received their funds, but let's just say it was a wire transfer, right? Then maybe they actually, you know, actually sold a big chunk of it and did a wire transfer here, but maybe they were actually selling throughout this area. Total speculation. I'm just saying, like, don't think that necessarily this is equal to 8 billion only caused 2%, you know, drop in the market. Nevertheless, that still does indicate solid liquidity of Bitcoin to be able to absorb that much money at once. So hopefully that's not too much verbal equivocation.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, where are we looking at Bitcoin going from here? I mean, it still looks stable. The fact that event, you know, or at least the news of that event, only caused this much downturn, and then, you know, things are basically back at the 118 mark. You know, that's still pretty good. So overall, again, macro stable. Still looking for altcoins to hopefully, you know, meander on to outperform Bitcoin. You know, to edge out Bitcoin slightly. I think that's where the cabal, if I was the cabal, that's where I would want to try and pivot things. If we feel like the macro is stable, if we're going to step higher, you know, trend, you know, mildly higher, then you're going to want to get people into that altcoin mindset again. You're going to want to get them buying those bags you printed for free. So the point here is that just, I think, consider sideways chop with the potential for upside, with a slight bias for altcoins. That would be my, you know, that would be my overall synopsis here. Monero hash rate's good, basically flat. We don't even need to look at the number of transactions per day. I'm sure it hasn't changed. 25,000, yeah, that's good. We're centered around 25,000 overall. That's an improvement from the years past. So. I don't know if I've lost you guys or if you guys lost me.
Nope, we're still here. By the way, I don't know if you heard it earlier, but I was telling Kim that I believe you're using TradingView for your actual like charts, but I'm not absolutely certain on that.
Oh yeah, these are all TradingView charts. TradingView comes with scripting. It's called PineScript. So if you want to come in here and like make your own stuff, which I do, the stuff I show you doesn't like, nobody has this. This is all custom stuff that I made myself. So yeah, I've got you know, got my wave magic, as I call it. That's all these wavy lines that are standard deviations, and they're magical because you just when I had the idea and I dropped it in there, I did not expect something that this looks like a natural process at work, right? Like even just for the like, here's the dollar versus peso. This is a natural process at work. Now I'm just sort of mapping those natural processes and what are happening, but right, the market is its own thing, right? This is just in my mind, this is a map. Right? It's a certain type of map of the market. It's partially a psychological map, an intuitive psychological map. And other times it just works even for stuff that people aren't looking at. So I don't know why it doesn't always work, but I don't know why it seems to work so well, even for stuff that people aren't necessarily looking at. Like when you divide something out by another thing, right? Like we just looked at Bitcoin divided by NVIDIA. Like I guarantee you there are very few people that are looking at the Bitcoin divided by NVIDIA chart, right? Let's go backwards here and see if we can find that chart. Here it is. Yeah, there's very few people looking at Bitcoin divided by NVIDIA. But anyways, yeah, it still works. But yeah, I use TradingView because the tooling that they have is pretty good. Could be better, but it's better than nothing. So yeah.
All right, Doug, you want to move us on to the news segment there, sir?
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely a bit delayed over here. So yeah, we'll get Tony up right away.
Let's check the XMR chats to make sure real quick.
Yeah, there are two of them. I know that Anon.
Tony grab those. Those sound more like news chats than price chats to me.
Okay.
I just wanted to check them before we got off the horn. So all right, I'll see you guys next week.
Yep. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Apologize, guys, for this shitty connection I'm having over here. Although I'm in a much better spot right now with a much better view right on the ocean over here. I see Cyrus tipped $10. Thank you for everything you do. Over the past week, I've been promoting Monero and getting more people to use it ever since the new levels of censorship payment processors and governments are doing. To use it ever since like the UK and internet US law. Wow, $10. Thank you, Cyrus, so much. And thank you for spreading Monero. That's how we do it, guys. Monero is the grassroots digital cash coin. Greatly appreciate the tip. Thank you so much. And we have another one. Anon tipped 32 cents. Hi, new episodes haven't been uploaded to ODYSEE for the last 7 months. So I'm forced to listen on YouTube. Could you fix it, please? I will look into that. I just sent the text to the group. I will make sure those start to get uploaded again. I don't know what happened there.
And then previously, Anon asked, tipped 0.001 Monero and asked if how the trades went with you and the. It's a little further back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't even see that one here.
Give me a second, and I'll get it.
Yeah, see if you can bring that up. Oh, I guess because maybe I'm loading.
Anon tipped 0.0015 Monero. Says, Douglas, did you get to meet the local Monero people in Portugal?
Yes, I did. So successful trade. This happened in southern Portugal. We coordinated. We met up in person. Obviously, guys, anybody who's doing this, I recommend safety first. DM with the people, get to know them a little bit, check their profiles, feel them out. You never know what type of situation you're going to get yourself in, and always obviously meet in a public place, right? So I met this individual for coffee, and it was fantastic. Had a great Monero conversation. We did a trade for some amount of Monero for some amount of euros. I needed euros, and it went really well, very smooth. So that was my first XMR Bazaar in-person trading experience, and it was a thumbs up for me. So super cool. I recommend more people start considering using XMR Bazaar for those purposes. We have that map layer, the Monero Near Me map layer, where you can list yourself as somebody essentially willing to be contacted for purposes of trading Monero for cash or cash for Monero, whatever country you might be in. So the idea is that we can have these little nodes throughout cities throughout the world where there's a few people in each city that are kind of willing to be contacted for purposes of in-person trades for cash to Monero. And the way we really get off the ground is people just have to start posting up there. So, if you're in some city and you don't see somebody on the map yet, and you're interested in doing it, obviously you can charge fees, right, for your trades, depending on what you want to charge. We didn't charge any extra fees in this trade. He needed Monero, I needed euros. We just did spot trade, at the regular spot price, and it all worked out.
I didn't use the Monero map for that purpose, but when there was those Texas floods, I actually found somebody who was near Texas and DM'd them and asked them, "Hey, do you need any help? Is there anything that you need help with? Can I, And he's like, "No, I'm good. I was pretty far away from it." But that's another option: is if there's something like that happens, you can look on the map and see if anybody needs help.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think the Monero map is a good way to see, you pull into town, pull into a new city, you can find people that are part of the Monero clan, reach out to them. Even if they're not willing to trade cash for Monero at that moment, they can give you insights into the city, things to know from a Monero perspective, perhaps places you should go where you can spend Monero, or if you're looking to buy specific things, maybe they can get people in touch with you, or they could be the in-between selling you, essentially accepting Monero from you to get you local goods and services. So that is the idea, right? If we're actually going to live off this stuff, we need to start practicing it. And for me, it was out of a need, and it was actually quite convenient. It was much better than going to a traditional ATM in terms of the fees I had to pay and whatnot. and I was able to turn my Moneros into local euros to spend. So it was a liberating experience, a very exciting moment for me, and I'd say for XMR Bazaar. So success. All right. I'm glad my internet was good enough where I could at least tell that little story there, because I thought that was kind of the highlight for me for this past week.
Another super chat from you know who tipped 0.002 Monero or 2 Millinero. Hey Doug, how about setting that DNS record for the Monero for the PeerTube?
We will do that. I will do that. I will get on that. It's on my to-do list. And that will give us yet another way for people to watch the live episodes or the previously recorded episodes. You can then watch it through PeerTube. So we'll get that set up as well.
All right, run the news segment there, sir.
All right, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run the news segment just because, like I said, I don't really have the best internet here. It's kind of coming in and out. So I'm going to go ahead and run the news segment. We have a fast show today just so I can get back to enjoying fam time over here in Portugal. I was considering not doing the show today, but I was like, all right, we got to keep this going. Got to keep it going. So we'll try to make it a fast one. So let me go ahead and run the news and pull up Tony. Here we go. Here we go.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Remember, you'll have to pull up Tony's screen as well.
All right, let's get Tony up here.
Don't forget, you'll have to pull up Tony's screen as well.
Here you go. Tony.
Oh, there we go. Hey guys, hi.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good. You're in Portugal. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm in Portugal. Been here for over a week. It's been great. It's been great. Beautiful, nice. Beautiful place. Great food. Heavy food. Very the heavy food culture. I think that's because the water is so cold here. They need fat on their bones around here. A lot of heavy food, delicious food. The sun is really hot, the beach is hot, and the water's freezing.
Oh, really?
It's been great. And it has,
yeah, Portugal is really beautiful, and I think pretty sure the biggest waves in the world they're in Nazaré, Portugal, and there's people that surf like 100-meter waves, like it's just crazy, like 5 times as big.
That's in the winter too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, those waves roll in the winter, so I can only imagine. I mean, that is just so fierce going into the Atlantic Ocean in like February in Portugal. I couldn't imagine. I'm going in here. I'm literally one of the only guys on the beach. Like the beach is packed. People all over the beach. Yeah. It's a big, wide Atlantic Ocean beach. A lot of sand. A lot of people on it. But very few actually even go in the water. Particularly where I am. Not only because the water is cold, but it's actually very rough seas. I'm used to swimming in the Atlantic in New York, but very strong undertow. Like it's fierce. And we're in like I guess what was once a fishing town, still is a fishing town, fishing village. And it's pretty cool. The boats go out every morning to catch sardines. They're like right off the beach. They push the boats up. They put the nets out and they pull in fresh sardines. And you can buy them off of the wives of the fishermen as you walk through town. It is a beautiful place.
It's very
Tony. Yeah, I'll let you take it away since my connection here isn't too great.
Yeah. So actually, before I wanted to show you something because I guess we're just getting into the news section, but I was on XMR Bazaar and I was just looking because you mentioned it, and I was checking out the map, and then I zoomed in on Romania, and then I saw somebody selling privacy magazines, and it's really funny. You have,
I have a feeling who that is. I'm pretty sure I know who that is. I mean,
what is?
Those are Vlad's magazines.
Oh, could be.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah,
and
could
he's
be.
yeah,
Oh,
and
it's a
he's
good one.
from that area. So
Yeah.
yeah, he should list himself as willing to meet up for cash to Monero trades.
Yeah, I think it could be Vlad too, but it's just funny. What is Monero? And yeah, Bitcoin and Litecoin.
He actually did a fantastic job on that magazine. He produced that in concert with the last Monerotopia. So we handed them out at the last Monerotopia. That's when he debuted it, and it is a beautiful magazine. It's a lot of really good articles.
Yeah,
recommend people check it out.
I like this page, moving past tribalism. That's a nice page too. Definitely.
Who's going to read a privacy magazine now? If he was selling Playboy magazines, that'd be different.
Wow. Okay. I mean, yeah, but
can you even find those anymore? Maybe XMR Bazaar is the place for Playboy magazines. I can see that.
Probably somebody's gonna sell them at some point. But I think the XMR map on XMR Bazaar is just super cool. You just when you fly somewhere, you go on vacation, or even where you are, just go on the map and check out what's near you, because maybe you can buy some cheese, some jam, some, I don't know, maybe it's this magazine if you're living in Bucharest, or people can ship stuff to you too, so you can just explore. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah, and I like I said, I encourage people to list themselves on the map, right? If they, in addition to listing a listing, to just put yourself on the Monero Near Me map if you're willing to get contacted by fellow Monero people when they roll into town. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe you live in Miami, whatever it is, you put yourself on the map as willing to be contacted for cash to Monero trades. Next thing you know, you're meeting up with somebody, grabbing a coffee that's at the Monero because they're in town. You're doing a trade. It builds community. It's actually quite nice.
This kind of XMR Bazaar is going to be like you can sell your services like a Craigslist, Couchsurf. You can meet up so many websites in one. It's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. But moving on, I also just saw this article just now, and I thought to talk about it just a little bit because it's obviously ridiculous. So Venmo and PayPal users can send money to help US pay off the debt. And I actually didn't notice, but I guess that you could have done this before too. So the digital payment platforms can be used after accessing the gifts to reduce the public debt page on pay.gov. The website has existed for nearly 3 decades, allowing Americans to contribute directly to paying off the country's debt, while a total of 73.3 million has been contributed. That remains negligible compared to the trillions in federal debt. Why would you donate to the U.S. government? They're just gonna print more money.
Who in their right mind? Nobody. I mean, I would love to meet that person.
Yeah,
that's what I would like to know. Like, what the heck? They already charge you taxes. Why would you donate to them?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. I guess they're just not aware of this stuff and like, I'm just gonna help off the country, and here comes my $1,000, and then in 1 second they've already printed or consumed 1,000 times your donation. So you could have just saved it, and you could have bought some Monero instead of helping to pay off.
If they accept Monero payments, I'll consider sending a Piconero if that's the case.
Yeah, 0.00. Yeah, I don't think they do. We can make a petition, and actually, since I mentioned petition, let's just skip to this one. Somebody made a petition about Steam accepting Monero, so Valve accept Monero, and here is the petition. That'll be cool. I don't know if Valve is going to, if they care about this, but it'll be obviously really nice to have Steam accept Monero. Right now we have 136 signatures out of 150. So if we somehow make it to Steam, that's huge. That's really big. So we'll see how this one is going to go. I guess we can give updates from time to time, but that'll be cool. Although I don't want to be. Oh, can you still see my screen? Oh, sorry. Wait 1 sec. I don't know what happened there. Oh, okay. Can you share my screen again? Or put my screen on the...
Yeah. Where is it?
I
Oh,
don't
here
know
it
what
is.
happened.
It
Yeah,
just,
sorry.
It went away and then it came back. Okay.
There we go. Right, so moving on. Another whale from 2011 just woke up and sold 14,000 Bitcoin. This person is saying, what the fuck? So let's look at the image. Lots of Bitcoin transactions to Galaxy Digital. And yeah, it's worth a lot of money. So it's interesting why they sold Bitcoin now. And why not later? Because I also believe, even though I don't like Bitcoin, I do believe that it's just going to go up in price. So that's interesting. And then also from Digital Galaxy, they facilitated $9 billion sale of 80,000 Bitcoin for a Satoshi-era investor, which is big. So this is one of the largest Bitcoin transactions in history tied to an estate exit. And here's a little bit. So New York, July 25th, 2025. Galaxy Digital, a global leader in digital assets and data center infrastructure, today announced the successful execution of one of the largest notional Bitcoin transactions in the history of crypto on behalf of a client. Galaxy completed the sale of more than 80,000 Bitcoin, valued at over $9 billion based on the current market prices. For a Satoshi-era investor representing one of the earliest and most significant exits from the digital assets market, the transaction was part of the investor's broader estate planning strategy. So again, interesting choice for selling now. I mean, definitely, that's a lot of money. 9 billion. That's a lot of money. But why did they sell now? Why they didn't wait for the price to go even more, especially since now the US has Bitcoin, they're holding Bitcoin in their reserves, and the BlackRock is into Bitcoin. If they're this patient from the early Bitcoin days until now to hold, why are they holding?
When I hear estate, I think of somebody like getting older and thinking they're going to pass away soon or something like that. That's what I think of when I hear estate sale, but that could be totally wrong.
You could be right. Yeah, could be right. Well, whoever is inheriting that money, I want to be on that list. I'm just going to buy Monero with it. Yeah, that could be it. Short wait. Now, here's a post from Monero. So our generous community has recently funded several proposals that will improve Monero and its ecosystem. Please find the proposals below. Thanks to everyone that donated. And what is really nice about this community is that every time there is a proposal or there's we need to fund something, the community does get together and then they do donate and we do get things funded, which is nice. And definitely, obviously helps the development. So let's go through a couple of these. Let's go through self-stop part-time Monero development, 3 months. So I'm just going to cover a few of these just a little bit. The first milestone is completed, 66 Monero, and usually get the what, the who, a proposal. So the what is smaller dev work on CLI and GUI, put effort where necessary, testing and reviewing pull requests, Monero release engineering for CLI and GUI, organizing what goes into a release, compiling CLI and GUI, packaging for distribution, writing release notes, and MISC work. And then Celsa has been contributing to Monero since around 2018 with over 690 merged commits. And here we have a list of the previous Celsa's previous work that you can check out. And then this is the proposal, just how much he's charging per hour, and then what is the amount. So this is Celsa. Let's now go over Jeffro256 a little bit. First milestone out of 3, Jeffro256. And then, oh yeah, we did talk about Carrot. Carrot is awesome. So the last quarter, he wrote, I integrated Carrot into Wallet 2 scanning. I also integrated Carrot over FCMP++ transaction construction into the CLI wallet transfer command. And yeah, stuff about Carrot over here. Then the who. So who is Jeffro256. So he said, I have been contributing to the Monero core repository for over 2 years with a total of 98 merged commits to master thus far, with many open PRs. Over the last few months, I wrote up the care specification, organized auditing, for which the community graciously funded, and began implementing it. And then you can see the previous proposals, the payment. Jay Berman, full-time development. And then, yeah, so let's go on this one. This is the first milestone out of 4. Work full-time, 4 months on, completing the FCMP++ integration, lots of FCMP++ things, manage the FCMP++ optimization contest, review the CARE integration, audit documentation for the CMP++ integration, continue Seraphis wallet library work, just huge, big projects. And then, yeah, Jay Berman on GitHub. You can check out his proposals. You can check out his GitHub. And here's a proposal: 396 Monero, and how many hours, how many all of this stuff. And let's cover one more, and then we're gonna move on. And let's take Spirabel and Monero browser wallet. It's the first milestone out of 4. So who? Spirabel. He's been in the community for quite a while. He's a really good guy. I talked to him in the past. And yeah, this is cool as well. I think we showed it one time, the Monero browser wallet. But yeah, it's just the Monero browser wallet. Self-hostable, Stripe payment links alternative, multi-sig companion app, accessible cross-platform Monero library. And just talk some more about it. Basically, milestones, why. I guess we'll go into why a little bit. The goal is to remove all friction from the privacy-enabled web shopping experience. Currently, most Monero shoppers have to copy and paste addresses from the Tor browser into their wallets. This opens the door to unnecessary OPSEC failures, as it is easy to get confused and intimidated by long strings of random numbers. A core part of staying private and safe online is to compartmentalize identities. Qubic OS made some advancements in improving the UX of this activity by coloring different windows that are tied to different identities in a unique way. And the reality is that installing a different operating system is a large ask for the average person, and it really is. At the same time, we need to onboard as many people as possible to these habits, and so we can operate safely in the crowd. Yeah, so we need a lot of things in Monero to make it easy for even a grandma like your grandma or your parents, older people to use Monero, and not just the techie people. Because when you look at Bitcoin privacy, I mean, it's complicated for even us, people that have grown up with computers, let alone older people. So it's nice to see all these projects come up and all these resources that you can learn about Monero. Because like years ago, you just have Mastering Monero, and then you had some more stuff, of course, but today, you just have so many resources and so many beautifully made resources. Andreas, he makes really nice illustrations and all this stuff explaining how Monero works. And yes, just so many resources. I think, is he the one that made Monero Garden, I think? I know he was working on a project one time.
Yep, that was him, Monero Garden.
That was him, right? Yeah, that's a really cool project. Yeah. So it's nice. And then we talked a little bit about, so I think it's pronounced Eigen wallet, not Eigen, so Eigen. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, but just to mention it one more time. So it's a Monero and Bitcoin wallet with native atomic swap support, and it will be released soon, coming soon to an app store near you. Okay, and then, well, actually, let's go into Eigen wallet a little bit. So the future of Monero wallets, I'm just going to briefly mention some things. So what is it? Eigen wallet is an ambitious effort to combine the frontier of crypto privacy technology in a neat, user-friendly packaging and make it accessible to all. Self-custody Monero and Bitcoin wallet is battle-tested, 3+ years Monero Bitcoin atomic swap implementation called Eigen Swap. It provides network privacy with its first-class store support using RT, platform agnostic, and works on Windows, Linux, macOS, iOS, and Android. So pretty much everything you want. Form a peer-to-peer network between its users, which we call the Eigen wallet, magically syncs itself across different devices using a protocol called Eigen Sync. And then tech stack. So why Eigen wallet? Eigen, means to own in German, emphasizing the self-ownership and self-custody you hold over your funds when using Eigenwallet. Eigen is a prefix used for mathematical concepts. Eigenvalues, eigenvectors, crypto and math are intrinsically intertwined. It's a cool name. And we use an algorithm called Eigentrust to build a decentralized trust system and assign a local trust score to each per we think it sounds cool. So it's a cool name and really cool. So I'm excited to cover it in the news section once it comes out.
Yeah.
Now,
so you're going to be able to do atomic swaps, right? Bitcoin to Monero atomic swaps in the wallet. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, which is nice. Like, it's just huge. It's just awesome. Yeah. Now a little bit of a meme. This is Bitcoin. This is Monero. And if you guys can see it, because if you're just listening, then it's the picture of those CEOs on each other's arms, I guess, cheating. I didn't really look into it too much, whatever. But that's Bitcoin, and then it's the same image below, and then it's kind of blurred, and you can't really see who the persons are. But that's Monero.
That's fantastic. Who posted that?
I'll take a look at this post. But wait, somebody posted something funny, I guess. I saw a reply on X to Fluffy's repost of this image. The guy added Zcash with a totally black photo and commented, "I fixed it for you." That's funny. Right, sure. I can't click on this, can I? Yeah, I don't know who is the... Why can I click on it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who made it, but it's funny. No, it could be the same person. I don't know. But moving on.
One with Nature's asking if I am on the beach. Yes, I'm on the beach. I am in Portugal. It's beautiful, beautiful place.
Yep.
Crisp air, hot, cold Atlantic water, tons of fresh fish, so much food, like bountiful amounts of food around here. Just pulling seafood out of the sea.
You're probably having a lot of pastries too.
Yeah, there's a lot of pastries. I've been trying to stay away.
Oh, you got to balance it with a protein shake in between.
I ate too much yesterday. I had a fast the whole day today.
No.
Well, yesterday, I don't know. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
So yesterday I tried for the first time barnacles. You ever had barnacles? Like literally, you see barnacles on the side of a boat.
No.
I did not know you could eat barnacles. And actually, yes, they're all right. I mean, they're kind of bizarre. So the barnacles and sea snails. I had those yesterday. That was the two firsts for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
Was it crunchy or?
It was like, yeah. So the barnacle. I mean, it's hard to explain. I wish I could show you guys. Like, you can imagine a barnacle right on like the side of a boat. You've seen it, right? Like have like that hard, like surface shell. Like it almost looks like it is a shell, but then on the bottom is what holds the barnacle to the side of something, right? And that's like the living membrane of it. You could suck like a little meat out of the barnacle and eat it. It's pretty good. And supposedly they're very hard to like harvest because they pull them off like the side of rocks, like in the Atlantic. They're very popular around here. So that was the first. And sea snails was also the first.
Ooh.
Tiny little yeah. You have to use like a toothpick or like a pin to pull them out of the shell. Pretty good.
Oh, you liked it?
So yes, I am on the beach. Yeah, no, I did. I mean, it's not something like I don't think I'll be craving it in the future. I'm not gonna be like, oh man, I could really go for some of those barnacles. Like it was an experience. They're good. I mean, I'm sure they're like very good. I'm sure they have like a tremendous amount of like minerals, like zinc or something in them. But it's not something I'm like. I don't think I'm gonna be craving anytime soon.
It's kind of off.
But yeah, lots of food. All right, so I'll let you wrap up the news, Tony. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's kind of off tangent, but it's so quick. I saw somebody, like, people go to Antarctica and they bring like a glass and the water is so clear and they drink it. But then I'm just thinking of they're drinking like millions of years of bacteria that melted from the glacier. I'm not sure if it's too healthy to do. I don't know why the barnacles took me there, but yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Moving on, I actually haven't seen this when it came out. This one came out 2 years ago, or maybe we talked about it, but this is Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. And I'm really happy that Lex asked him about Monero. So let's watch them talk about Monero a little bit.
We want to enable innovation in this space, but not allow anybody to curtail the advancement of this industry by like doing some kind of fraudulent thing or get rich quick thing. So
it's a tricky industry because I'm trying to figure out who to what's interesting to understand, to research.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know. Let me ask you about a tricky one to add to a centralized exchange, which is privacy preserving cryptocurrency. So like Monero.
Yeah.
Is that technically difficult, or is that why is, like, Monero, for example, forget that specific one, but like privacy preserving cryptocurrency blockchains, why is that ever possible to add?
So that's a great question. So the answer is maybe. So here's the reason why. So because we're a regulated financial service business, we have various licenses to do that. We are regulated by various regulators. Part of those licenses requires us to have a, quote, reasonable program to monitor for suspicious activity, an AML program, anti-money laundering, right? And so if a coin is 100% anonymous and we can't really do blockchain analytics to track source of funds and where these things might be going, it makes it harder to have a reasonable program around that's defensible. Now, there are privacy preserving coins like Zcash, which have something called a view key. And a view key is basically another key which allows you to de-anonymize the transactions in specific situations where you want that. So for instance, we do support Zcash. And one of the ways we got comfortable with that is that when you're buying it on Coinbase, you can basically have a view key. The transactions are not anonymous while you're buying it, and we can see where it goes afterwards and do our whole standard program. Now, if it gets a few hops away down the road, I mean, people could eventually turn on privacy preserving aspects. So, these are tough judgment calls, but at least in terms of our interaction with the customer and everything, we feel comfortable with that. I think there's a broader point here, which is that I actually think privacy coins are a good thing for the world, and they should be allowed. And more like, despite we've made this judgment call to operate in a regulated and safe and compliant way, but just taking my Coinbase hat off for a minute, I think the world would be a better place if there were more privacy coins, because it's kind of.
Well, that's nice. I'm going to continue, but I'm glad he said that.
Like the internet when it first came online, like there was no HTTPS. Everything was HTTP, and there was, so people were afraid to put their credit cards on the internet, and your messages could be intercepted and all this stuff. And now the whole internet has basically moved to HTTPS with the little lock icon in your browser, which is better. Like, and financial information is like the most important information to keep private, right? So there's times where, like, let's say you're running a charity or something and you want to have total auditability, transparency for the whole world, who donated and where did the money go. That's great. You want it to be public. But if it's like your personal money or something like that, you don't want to be broadcasting that to the whole world. And in some ways, that's what blockchains are doing, pseudonymously, because but it is a public ledger. And so if you can know who owns each address, you can basically de-anonymize it. I think basically the people should fight for privacy and freedoms of all kind, but privacy of money is a good thing. So I would like to see more of that in the future.
You chosen.
Yeah, so you heard it from Brian Armstrong himself. Now, I don't like Coinbase because, as far as I know, it's pretty much a centralized exchange that asks for a lot of things, which is for a lot of KYCs compared to other centralized exchanges. But yeah, these 4 minutes in which he talked about privacy coins, I agree with this, and I hope
Tony,
there was more broadcast. Yeah. What was that, shortwave?
Oh, there you are. I was just saying I didn't hear you anymore. so I wasn't sure if I died or you died or what. So we're good now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
when did this first get published? This was like a year old, right? This isn't
2 years.
Right? This is like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I mean, it's also, we know that Coinbase doesn't list Monero, but they list Zcash, right? So it's interesting how he's explaining why they're able to list Zcash but not Monero. Meanwhile, Monero does have view keys, right? If they really wanted to list Monero, I think they can comply in a similar way to how they're complying with Zcash effectively. It's just, I mean, my belief is that it's just a Zcash versus Monero thing with Coinbase. With the investors that are behind Coinbase, for whatever reason, I don't know. I think they have more interest in seeing Zcash succeed. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it just seems weird that in New York, Zcash is listed, but Monero isn't on these exchanges.
Yeah, it could be. But pretty much the TLDR would be Monero is 100% private, and we can't do anything about it. But Zcash is like a backdoor. So
I had this conversation with Zach Shapiro like 2 weeks ago on Monero Talk as well. That was an insightful conversation. If you want to give that a listen. I think I've been talking about this quite a lot on the show, saying that now could be the time we eliminate BitLicense in New York. Zach Shapiro agrees. So if that were to happen, well, then Kraken would be available to New York customers. Kraken lists Monero, and then I'm sure you'd see Coinbase then as a way to compete. It would also participate.
Just know that if you want a proper exchange, you can go to Ritu Swap button.
Yes.
Yeah.
German tipped 4 cents. The German word Eigen is pronounced as the I. The I is pronounced like the English word I. The G is a hard G sound, similar to the G in go. The EN at the end is pronounced softly, almost like a nasal sound. So Eigen value.
Eigen. That's what I thought too, but I've heard that's what I was pronouncing it before. But I've heard somebody say that it's pronounced Eigen, but Eigen sounds I'm gonna say Eigen because it just makes more sense. Yeah. So thanks for the tip, by the way. Yeah. Now,
I always thought Eigen was I just assumed Eigen was the name of the mathematician who created eigenvalues. I guess but it means Eigen just means to own.
Yeah.
It's not the mathematician.
I thought about it too. Now, you guys probably seen this picture before. Bitcoiners like to post it. Basically, spot the difference, and you have on the left side crypto, like all the cryptos, Litecoin, all this stuff, and then you have on the right side Bitcoin, and then you have a comparison, and which is crypto easily co-opted, Bitcoin can be co-opted, crypto changeable and obscure rules, Bitcoin fixed rules, crypto the goal is more fiat, Bitcoin replaces fiat, I guess, crypto corruptible leaders and rulers, Bitcoin no leader and rulers. Crypto rug pulls are possible. Bitcoin rug pulls are impossible. So now we have crypto and Bitcoin, but I wish we had the crypto bit versus Bitcoin and then versus Monero. But we do have the Bitcoin and Monero. I just wish we had all three in the same one. So somebody should make it. But let's just spot the difference again, but this time let's do Bitcoin and Monero. So Bitcoin easily co-opted. Monero can be co-opted. Bitcoin, ASIC mining. Monero is ASIC resistant. Bitcoin loved by the government. It's owned by the government.
Hey, Doug, can you mute yourself?
Monero, it's hated by the government. Or, I mean, it's probably hated for the population to have it, but probably somebody in the government has Monero, and they're buying Monero and using Monero. They could be using Cake Wallet. I don't know. Bitcoin, corruptible leaders, Monero, no leaders and rulers. Bitcoin, transparent. It's transparent. Monero is fungible. I was by Cypherpunk. Okay. Yeah, he made this image. But yeah, pretty much. So if anybody wants to make a crypto versus Bitcoin versus Monero, spot the difference image, that'll be cool. That'll be nice to share. But yeah, another thing it's, yes, privacy, but also it brings fungibility. That's very, very important, because €1 equals to €1, and that's it. Like, you can see that euro was used by Ursula von der Leyen, and now it's worth more, or it's been used by, I don't know what public figure, and then, it's going to be worth more. You need fungibility. Like, that's also something very, very important in a currency and privacy. So, yep. Now, a little bit about Qubic, the fastest blockchain ever. I've looked into it, but not too deep to get technical about it. But essentially, Qubic is the fastest blockchain ever verified on mainnet, 15.5 million TPS, certified by Certic. And as you can see on this chart, it is getting traction. It's pretty used. As you can see in mining pool stats, it's the second most used pool. And then the person who posted the image said, I think and insist peer-to-peer pool mini, and peer-to-peer pool nano as only allowed pools to avoid any 51% attack. Qubic is currently top 2 of hash rate, has quite a bit of hash rate. And I wonder how their hash rate is going to go up with time. And also, let's go to this one. So we have a mod say, I'm fucking tired, and it's basically about Qubic. So a reminder that every useless Qubic post must have to deal with all the bots in comments. You don't see that as many people need to be manually approved to be seen, but in between honest people with low karma and actual bots, we're swimming in bullshit every time we open a Qubic related post. This is becoming unbearable and also annoying for users. Think twice before posting about it. Thanks. What are the mods? And then these are just screenshots of people, needing to be approved for their comments to be pushed in. So, if you're gonna post about Qubic, then I guess think twice about it. But yes, essentially on Qubic, if you don't know, you can buy Monero, and as far as I know, you get more money. Like it's much faster than all this stuff. But then people were talking about 51% attacks. So, just be careful. I also like what somebody said. It's quite funny. I think it's a project that does nothing. The creator has convinced idiots to mine XMR for him with the promise of buying and burning set of worthless tokens. How will they know that he's skimming some of the topic they want because it's Monero? Yeah, so I don't know what to say about.
I would actually comment on this a bit. I saw this pop up a couple days ago, I guess, again. And so I did the math. I just checked it out. How many blocks have they mined in the last 10 days and how many blocks have there been? And they've mined 11% of the blocks, which is about the same that they had like 3 months ago when the Hitler Youth were sitting here, running around like chickens about this issue. This, like, if these guys want to contribute 11% to our hash rate, great. Like, we need more hash rate. I don't see the problem. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the first one to say that, hey, I think that Binance and these other exchanges probably covered their fractional reserve by making under the table deals with guys like NiceHash to eventually cover for, the Monero that they didn't have, and that people can mine Monero, throw money at it to mine Monero, to use it to sell down the price, right? Like that's one of the other things I heard. Well, they're just going to mine Monero and sell down the price. Like, well, yeah, that's something you can do, and that's like basically the price that we pay for a robust ecosystem.
That's actually a good thing. According to Mining Pool Stats Stream right now, Qubic has 13% of the hash rate. So if they're going to contribute 13% of the hash rate and immediately sell the Monero to push the price down, that's a good thing. It gives us cheaper Picos.
I mean, I don't know if I would say that's necessarily a good thing. I would rather miners that intended to hold and spend and use Monero as opposed to trade it for fiat. I would rather that, but I mean, it's it's part of the game. Like that's the economics of mining. Like it's just something that we have to contend with. So it's not a problem until we see these. Maybe they have 13% now. It varies obviously, but for the past 10 days, 11% was the amount of blocks that they've mined. So okay, if they start moving up, and again, that was the same 2 months ago. So if they start moving up, 15, 20, 25%. Okay, maybe we start saying, could there be a problem here? Thus far, there's nothing to worry about. This isn't a problem. The Hitler Youth are just giving these guys free marketing. That's all that's happening. But they're probably their response is, well, it's good if we can get more people to mine. So even if it's not quite totally true, at least we have visibility and more people are mining. And okay, sure, whatever. Fine, why not?
It's so wild, man. Have you looked into this guy at all, Bawdy, the creator of Qubic?
Nah, I mean, he seems shady and weird, and he won't talk to anybody, and he has weird posts, and he feels like a bot. He's probably not a bot. I don't know.
But I think he has a long history, right? I think he's like a real OG. I think he was even involved in Monero.
Was he? I don't know.
Yeah.
Why do we think that? What's the reason for believing that?
I don't know. I've seen this around X. I've looked into it a little bit. I actually reached out to him to try to get him to do an interview, and he did not respond. And people were like, he would never come on your show. But the rumor is, I have not verified, looked into it. If anybody knows, please jump on. Viewers on stage. If anybody wants to come up and talk about it that has insights into this, that's been following it, please feel free to jump up. I know people want to talk about it. I really don't have much to say. I mean, other than, I agree with Bawdy's take. That's how I currently see it as well. I think it's interesting how effective they're being with marketing their coin by threatening Monero. But then I also see him not threatening, saying that he would never want to hurt Monero. I don't know if he's being sarcastic at that point. I don't know. I'm not really following closely enough to understand the nuances, but it does just seem like a guy who's figured out a way how to market his coin by creating controversy. And I do think it's funny that the Monero Hitler part of the Monero ecosystem seems to be most upset by this, right? Is that what you were saying, Bawdy?
I mean, they're the only guys I've ever seen
I guess they're the maxis. They're the Monero. They're the maxis of Monero, right? So they're there on the front
I mean, they're the ones that are sky is falling. Oh my God, what's sensationalist bullshit. And of course,
I thought it was funny too. They were trying to throw us. They were trying to put shade on us, saying why aren't we talking about it? Suggesting there's some conspiracy or something. That's I don't know where they're trying to go with that one.
I mean, it's fine. They're always
Doug and Bawdy talking about it. Yeah, it's just
that's their take on everything. They're like, oh well, the OGs, they're ignoring this. Why they're always every post is why has no one talked about this? It's so 3 years ago, marketing on your social media, no one's talking about this. No one's this one weird trick. It's all right, whatever, also, sure, fine, guys. You're appealing to at least a certain segment, and everybody needs money. So all right, good enough.
Do you think maybe they're trying to pump Qubic or something? No.
Who knows?
They're not that freaky tested. I haven't been following it either. I mean, has the price been pumping? I did look at it a couple of months back when it first came onto the scene, and they were throwing these Monero threats around.
I mean, I genuinely don't pay them any attention. I just happened to see a post. Honestly, I haven't even seen much noise on X. Just like that one post. So I just don't pay any attention at the moment. Those guys have 20% of the hash rate for 10 days rolling. Okay, then I'll start to pay attention. Until then, I just don't care.
And do you understand what are they saying their purpose is for mining on Monero? Why did they choose Monero? Obviously, their proof of work goes towards AI, right. And then the other half of their proof of work goes towards.
Honestly, I know nothing about them. If you hadn't mentioned AI, or someone, it was you or someone else mentioned AI a couple of days. I had no idea about that. To me, they're just they have a shitcoin, okay, whatever, and they're mining Monero. Cool. That's as far as I've looked at them. I don't go investigate Nanopool and Hashvault and C3 Pool and who's behind them. Are they OGs? Are they going to dump their coins? Oh my God. I'm not, I just don't care, right? It's just not in my purview of things. You can only care about so many things in a day, and this just isn't one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just the traditional pool though, right? Because it is connected to some cryptocurrency. So it's interesting in that respect. That's a first. I've seen.
I mean, maybe they're gamifying mining in some way by adding another coin on top. It's just in my mind, somewhere in my brain, I just slot that into like sheaming, and I'm like, whatever. I don't have time to look at every sheam. But thanks for the 11% hash rate, bros. Like, maybe that's good.
All right. Well, we'll see where things go. If anybody ever wants to come up and talk about it, that has a very in-depth view on things.
We give it far more airtime here than it probably deserves.
Agree.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't want it to turn into like Qubic people now, like coming on to Monerotopia. And like, I mean, they seem to be like all over the place.
They're definitely attracting people financially because they show this chart, and I guess it's true. I don't know. On Monero, you make $0.64 a day. On Tari, 1.65, but if you use Qubic, it's $3.13. So yeah, definitely got people with that. But yeah, so moving on, and I think that's the last thing that we have for today. Yeah, so just a little bit of an update on the Samourai Indictment. So they're pretty much they're painting Samourai Wallet as if the developer's sole purpose was to build this service for crime, which is kind of ridiculous. So the Southern District of New York has filed a superseding indictment against Samourai Wallet developers Keone Rodriguez and William Hill. The indictment expands the charge timeline by 2 months from February 2024 to April 2024, adding $150 million to the alleged criminal proceeds laundered, now totaling $250 million. Additionally, to add drug trafficking to the description of the allegedly laundered funds, and additionally removes all but one mention of unlicensed money transmission, including all references to 18 U.S.C. governing federal money service business licensing requirements, in line with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche's April memo. The new indictment yet continues to charge the developers under count 2 with conspiracy to operate an unlicensed money transmitting business, despite the fact that many other jurisdictions have been dropping cases based on Blanche's memo that we covered, and then anonymity is a crime. So the new indictment extends the government's description of Samourai Wallet to include that the defendants intentionally did not require Samourai customers to provide KYC or KYC information to Samourai, noting that Rodriguez and Hill advertised and promoted the fact that Samourai's customers could use the Whirlpool or Ricochet functions without providing any identifying information to Samourai. This deliberate decision to not implement KYC encouraged and enabled its customers to engage in transactions meant to conceal the nature, location, source, ownership, and control of criminal proceeds by making those transactions more difficult to trace. Pretty much just saying that they allowed people to just have privacy, and that's a crime. That's horrible. That the fact that they allow people to have privacy. That's basically what they're trying to say. And the new indictment continues to highlight that the developers specifically promoted Samourai for its ability to allow customers to engage in anonymous transactions. Ooh, that's a crime, right? And then we see the X handle of TDEV here in the paper. But yeah, this is what it basically talks about. And then one more thing. So the indictment continues to cite statements made on the Samourai Wallet website, stressing that the developers promoted Samourai's lack of KYC procedures, quoting that Samourai is described as a modern Bitcoin wallet, hand-forged to keep your transaction private, your identity masked, and your funds secure, as well as a description which read, "Be your own Swiss bank, no email, no address, no ID checks, no hassle." Which just, it all just sounds like you should not have privacy. Like, this is all a crime. The fact that you want to mask your identity and your funds and all these things from the world, because you don't want people to see what you're doing, because it's not their business. Now, obviously, I want all criminals to be caught and in jail for what they've done and all these things, but they're punishing everybody and using that as an excuse to control your privacy, essentially. But yeah, so this is just a bit of an update on the situation of the Samourai Wallet. So basically, privacy and anonymity is a crime. But all the stuff sound great to me and to you, to us, you know, masking your identity, your funds, and being able to do what you want to do without the whole world seeing it or looking into what you're doing. So yeah, I thought it was interesting and quite amusing a little bit. But yeah, guys, so this was a new section. We covered some really interesting stuff, and I'll see you guys next week for more things.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Okay. We don't have any special guest for the day. So maybe we'll do viewers on stage, and then if we want to run the special guest segment for somebody that comes up.
Just one thing, Doug, before. So Stellar Door Road, Xeno had good coverage of the first day of trial in his last episode. So if you want to look more into this deeply, then check out Xeno's episode.
That's for Roman Storm of the Tornado Cache.
Yes.
Two different trials.
Oh,
yes,
that's for
you should absolutely look at that stuff. The Tornado Cache trial is very, very much worth watching.
Yep.
And Lola Leeds and the Rage have been killing it with the reporting of that trial.
Yeah, she's amazing. She actually spoke at Monerotopia remotely, which is super cool. Maybe get them to do that again this year. All right, let's go ahead and move it along. I'll run the viewers on stage segment, and then we'll see if we have anybody that wants to be today's special guest.
The Monerotopia Viewers on Stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar. Play dice with Monero using a privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to xmr.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Please gamble responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
Alrighty. Let's see who we want to get up here. I see DMartian, Alaska, Stellar, Elias. What's going on, guys?
This was such a winning performance. Like it sounds like it wasn't real. It was bizarre because it sounds so real. XMR bizarre, right? I'm so happy. Like I'm really happy about all this. What I really want to know though is where is it going? And what I'm thinking is, perhaps for me, is like it started out with like dystopia. We started making dystopia and and then we started making utopia. I'm thinking we're making Monero world next. And I'm actually thinking that this could be real. I'm thinking that this could be real. I'm trying to think about who could be involved in this desire, this means, this absolute wonderfulness. I think that what could happen is that people of different communities could connect and use Monero as their digital means, and that could be wonderful. What do you think?
One thing that I kind of grew up thinking about was how we can do very little about the world that we're born into and that we grow up in, but we can do a lot about the world that we get old in, and we can do a lot about the world that other people are born into. And I see how a lot of people who questioned the efficacy of government, for example, are building a world where you can opt out of it. I see a lot of people who crave for the artistic world that existed before, like the modernist, postmodernist thing, are now creating, more permanency, more structure, more community than they grew up in. And I think that we're watching the natural evolution of people trying to achieve what they think a better world will look like. And that's probably why you're so full of mystery, is because now you're the adult making the world that you want to live in. Maybe he don't like me.
Did we lose him? Oh, no.
Come back.
I think we lost him. DMartian.
You guys want to see something super cool?
Sure.
Those who get it will get it. Those who don't, I feel bad for you. I think if anyone would have something to say, like, come on, Shortwave, you got to know what this is.
If you're showing something, that's not going to work for me. Remember.
Sure, yeah.
He's showing a hat with the privacy ninja and some suspicious green character with hair, with more hair than the CIA would have, but it says CIA. I guess those guys get to grow their hair out because they got to blend in. And it says Temple OS. They're sword fighting.
Yeah, it's the Temple OS logo. And then this side is Terry Davis. And then this side is the CIA. And it glows in the dark, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Did you remember? Do you remember when you told me to like talk to someone that knows about communities? I started talking to someone that you recommended, and it's worked out really well. I think these are going to go really well.
Yeah, I think people are kind of sleeping on the fact that she's like the community builder person. She's done it many times. She knows what she's talking about.
And we can do this, right? I think we will.
We absolutely can.
Yeah. Yeah. So what more do you have to say about that?
I assume you're talking about Chloe because I can't think of anybody else who would make more sense. But
you're the one. You're the one that a couple weeks ago, and I'm not a faker. I'm a doer. So I'm gonna do something about it. And we talk to people, and we're gonna do something about it. So we're not fucking around, bro. Like, so what's happening? So what's happening?
I'm going to go ahead real quick. I'm actually going to go ahead and run the guest segment for DMartian. So, DMartian, you are today's special guest.
Yeah.
I'm the new one. I'm all happy.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
So I have kind of a cool story that she would never tell you because she's a very humble person, unless you kind of drag it out of her. But we lived in the deserts of Alamosa, and there was a food co-op, and it was kind of the only place to get good food. But they were drowning in debt. They were way underwater. There was a lot of people trying to be in charge at the same time and all of this other stuff. And she quietly got involved. And then she created like a whole profit generating system for them. It had to do with like what are those called? The Food Bucks program or whatever. She got them enrolled in basically you could use food stamps at the co-op, and then you could get matching funds for any food stamp that you spent on organic vegetables. And she pulled their finances out of the gutter, got the whole thing organized again, and turned it into like a profit generating business for a food co-op. And it was absolutely thriving. And then we moved, I don't even remember how far away, but like, let's say 100 miles or whatever. And as soon as she left, the whole thing just collapsed because it just devolved back into like the social circle nightmares. But she didn't leave it there. And that's probably my favorite thing about this person is she started going all over Alaska asking other people who had solved the problem more permanently than she had what they did to keep a system that was functioning without their input. And I don't even remember the name of it. I was just her driver at the time. Like, so I drove her to some guy's house. I think it was in like Boulder. And they were just sitting there doing like a one-on-one work group, like 12 hours a day. And I was just kind of like hanging out, getting high. But like, and she's just diligently taking notes and all of this other stuff. And the whole premise of why she went to go meet with this guy was to figure out sustainable social systems to keep it functioning after the initial injection of the kind of input that she was giving for like sustainability and profitability of the business side of things. And then like she would always be able to get the food sourced correctly and lower costs and increase the customer base and all that for these food co-ops, because that was kind of her thing at the time. But then she spent all of this time figuring out how to do social structures to prevent bad ideas from being deployed and to encourage good ideas to make it all the way to completion. And that's what I was getting at, is like, this woman is such a completionist when it comes to actually making something that will last longer than she will live. So yeah, you're barking up the right tree.
Here we go. And here we go. This is fantastic. I think that sometimes these communities, like we are talking about right now, are they're disconnected in a way that wants to be disconnected. But maybe they should be connected in a way that's just great, so they're not bothering with their own rights and their own freedoms. Maybe people should use Monero. Maybe that should be the way.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about from previous episodes, we're talking about this concept called like intentional communities or federated communities. There's a couple of different ideas of basically you design a community around an idea that you want to thrive, and you find a way for people to freely associate within the context of that idea. And the federated part is a way to chain them together to make them stronger. And then there's another idea that kind of lives within those circles of egalitarianism. So like you end up with these groups called the Federation of Egalitarian Communities and all of this other. It's an area of research that's not for everybody, but if these ideas are resonating with you, then you should definitely check into them. But what? Yeah, it does work. I will tell you that. Like there are several.
It works. We can make this happen. This is real.
Yeah, I've helped a lot. I think you might know enough about me to know that I'm like a total hermit workaholic. So it's not like for me in the sense, but like I've done a lot of things where like I'll jump in to help people kind of get their thing going. But Chloe, on the other hand, is very
Let's jump in all the way, man.
Yeah, I love to see him happen. Like I love to see him work, because that's kind of the whole idea behind voluntarism, right? Is like I want people to freely associate amongst themselves for whatever systems that they want to exist, whatever they want to believe in. I'm not anti-communism. I'm anti like non-voluntary communism. If people want to share amongst themselves in a giant pool, then go for it. If people, and some of them do that, some of them don't, but it's really, as long as it's voluntary, I've tried to jump in and help with a lot of these things. Like whether
I'd be okay with that too. If someone wants tyranny, then like that's their choice. But it is their choice, and that's what matters.
But they don't have the right to force it on me if I don't want it.
Well, one of the things that I've been trying to tell people who are like super hardcore ANCAP voluntarists is you have to focus on the voluntarist and anarchy part, because if people want to choose, like most families are structured as kind of like a communist thing, right? My stuff is my wife's stuff and my kids' stuff is my stuff and vice versa, right? Like it's what belongs to the family belongs to the family, you know? And I mean, that's pretty communisty. But the thing is I voluntarily part with everything that, you know, is the fruit of my labor for the benefit of these other people.
There's a middle ground to that, though. There's a middle ground. I mean, I know it indeed that like you say, like, okay, like the only way I could like feel fine with giving something to my brother or like, you know, someone in my family is giving someone something with no expectation to get anything back. But and because you know that they might screw you over. And that would be really harmful. That'd be like, fuck, someone fucked me over. And that ruin a whole relationship. That'd be really bad. But I think that like if there's a middle ground where it could be like, hey, I give to you, you give to me. This is the way we work.
Well, there's another really interesting component about Monero, though, that has UBI-like features to it. It's not a one-to-one, but the idea of mining has certain UBI functions to it that I think are absolutely brilliant. So what I mean by that is inflation of the currency supply, or in, you know, that like with Monero, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. In fact, it can be this powerful force for stabilization. It can be a powerful force for creating this equilibrium. The way that tail emission and mining work is absolutely amazing. And you could design a whole system within these egalitarian communities around the idea of, okay, we're going to have like a proof of work mining algorithm attached to our solar grid. And by virtue of living here, you get a certain percentage of the block reward as it's coming in. So the moment it comes in, whoever lived here during that block gets a certain percentage of it. And then you have to accumulate a certain total amount of Monero in order to cash out your share of the Monero or something like that. And so it almost acts as like, by virtue of you living here and helping us, you know, maintain the solar grid, there's like a UBI feature built into the community, and then it becomes yours. And then you can turn that around and you can say, you know, there's a certain amount of like garden that's planted, and then there's a certain amount that's specifically yours. And the rule is you have to log this many hours into the public garden before you can log any of the equivalent hours in your private garden or whatever. But there are mechanisms for keeping people working and keeping people honest that are fair, that kind of like mesh a lot of these ideas. And what's amazing is if you keep presenting all of these ideas until you find one that everybody is willing to kind of agree on, and then you can say everything that comes from this public garden is, you know, like the decisions are managed based on, you know, these people's decisions who are qualified to do so. And they go to the farmer's market, and that the revenue that's generated from this is used exclusively for, like, you know, importing things to the community or whatever. The reason why I bring up these ideas is, even though that's a lot of you have probably even thought about stuff like this before, but the thing that irritates me the most about people who are trying to do what DMartian is doing, but the reason why I love your approach as opposed to other people who are trying to do this is, as soon as they hit a question that they don't immediately know the answer to, they just give up. Where it's like, well, how are we going to accomplish whatever? And it's like, that's total quitter bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're telling me that you have this dream, but you have this one problem that's like going to get in your way of living your dream, it's probably not really a dream. Because when people have a goal or a dream, they will do what it takes to get to where they want to be. but I also wonder how much of this has to do with things like the public school system and stuff, where it's just cramming a bunch of can't and won't into the minds of these people. So by the time they actually find a dream, like, I want to live with people who think like me in a big community where I can freely associate and get out of the rat race and all that other stuff. And by the way, people who do this, they do actually live a high quality of life, like a high standard of living, and work way less than people who are 9-to-5ers. Like, it is a totally.
Interrupt you in any kind of way. All right, thank you. You've been saying a lot of good things, and I have one thing to say, is that I think that maybe the point is that these communities that have been living together for a long time, that maybe not everybody knows about, not everybody's aware of, maybe not even everybody has given the chance to ask themselves, to have it like. Have to question themselves that if they want a chance to be a part of that, these are not connected, but Monero could bring them together. They absolutely could, in ways that, like, technology. Yeah, technology. It's not been there yet, but it's here now through Monero. We could do that, right?
Oh, hell yeah, we can. I don't know if you know this, DMartian, but Faircoin, I believe, was launched in an intentional community, I think. And so they were trying to, like, Monerotize. I mean, this was way back in like 2014, I think. So it was right around the same time that Monero came out, was like the whole attempt at Faircoin. And the other thing is it was based on the idea of, like, you inject a certain amount of labor into the economy and you're rewarded with a certain amount of Faircoin that's pegged to the labor. And ironically enough, that was the model that the Nazis used to get out of their currency crisis. And so you have people who have, like, their whole worldview is like completely antithetical to, like, most of what Nazis were all about. And yet they reach the same conclusion, which is you want to create a system that is kind of like pegged to the value of labor, because most exchanges and transactions, I don't know if it's still totally true anymore, but they were pegged to the price of labor. And most of the reason behind, like, the whole fiat scam is to try to devalue labor against the currency.
So is Chloe with us right now? Can she share your opinions? Not your opinions, but her opinions on that?
I would be willing to bet she's listening. She lives at the same, like, lot as me, but we actually built her a house next door, so I don't know if she can get on or not.
That'd be great. I'd love to hear what she has to say about all that.
Oh, I've been saying she should be on here forever.
It's okay. It's okay. She's shy. I'm not going to push her on that on any kind of way. I would love to encourage her, though, with you. No, that's great. It's totally great, man. That's all I have to say, actually. That's the end of my segment. Goodbye.
The only real thought, that if anybody's listening to this and they're totally vibing with Martian, I just want to, like, kind of drive home the idea that there are a lot of ways to get out of, like, the 9-to-5 slave system, but intentional communities are highly accessible, and they are, like, a legitimate solution to getting out of, like, the 9-to-5 rat race. And there are not nearly enough of them representing, like, the kind of, like, libertarian bent or ANCAP bent voluntarism thing as much as there should be. And you would think that those two things go together a lot better than we're seeing. So if you guys have any other questions, the listening audience, I mean, I don't even know how to tell you to get a hold of Chloe, but you probably should, because she could get you started, you know, or reach out to DMartian on Twitter and be like, I'm in, you know.
If you want in, like, there's definitely ways to get in. And I think that you could all be happier than you could be as you are right now. I think that like Doug, his whole mission, his whole family actually is gonna be great as they are, but I think that they'll be better once they start connecting
Another cool thing about it is the terminally online world never gets to know people on like a really deep level. And when you go to these communities and you spend like 4 or 5 hours with a face-to-face dialogue with somebody, I mean, you walk away with what feels like a new best friend, and that's one of the reasons why I wish people would make a point to attend things like Monerotopia, is because when you get to know people who you have something in common with, and you actually get to sit with them at a table and just share a coffee and like listen to each other, it changes the way that you think about people that you would otherwise only know as some handle on the internet.
Right. And it's like, imagine you're such a good person that you could create an event like Monerotopia, just because like you love freedom and you love life, and you're just like, you love people. Imagine if you're at that level and you're doing that kind of thing like Doug has, and you're just, I think that it's just a small thing away. It's a small thing away just to get to there. It's right close to you. And we could make it happen, and we could amplify it, and we could make it happier, and we could build it, and we could make it the future. We truly can.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, like there's this, especially it's just starting in the Monero community, and it's leaving a pretty nasty taste in my mouth. This idea of like, we're going to get so much gains, right? We're going to be rich. Like, and the thing is it's this need to believe that you're on like the bleeding edge of early adoption, which very well might be true, and maybe Monero is going to pump to like, I don't know, 100 bajillion or whatever. But it's like, you could live that way right now. Like, you don't have to be the guy who got in early on something and 2000x your gains and now you're going to go retire somewhere. Like, all you have to do is associate with productive and creative people and build a higher standard of living amongst yourselves. But it's so much easier to just sit there and hope that your gambling gets you gains and then buy your way into isolation than it is to learn how to work with people who think differently than you and find common ground to build something together. But I'm always the guy who tells people who start asking me about like prepper stuff, one guy with 500 guns is an excellent, defense position, but 8 guys who each have 1 gun is significantly more powerful than the one guy with 1,000 guns or whatever, because the squad-sized element is the most indomitable force in military history. It's still more flexible than a nuke. It's still more useful than an airplane. It's like 8 guys who have trained together and are working towards a common goal are unstoppable. And that's kind of the premise behind an intentional community, is if you get a small group of people freely associating amongst each other for a common goal, it's effectively guaranteed success. And that's one of the reasons why COINTELPRO is such a dangerous weapon in the hands of our enemy, is because they don't have to defeat the idea. They just have to break up the unity amongst each other. And as soon as they do that, then they no longer have to fear the impossibility that it is to defeat a unified front of people on a common goal. But an intentional community kind of cuts through all of that, because you can't like seed a bunch of drama on the internet and watch the whole community fall apart, because you have to live next to that guy and you have like a face-to-face opportunity to address one another about where you're coming from. This social element of building both Monero and an intentional community, the ability to be subversive to it is completely undermined by the physical presence of one another working towards a common goal. I'm really trying not to talk a lot. I wondered if Elias is gonna say something like DMartian just gets me going though, you know. Like I just start going when he talks.
I know, man. I know. I love you, and I think that might be the end.
All right, but I can say something. Hi.
You're a little quiet. Can you raise
Please,
your volume?
yeah, please. I'd love to hear other people speak.
All right. Is this better?
It's better, but maybe a little bit more would be amazing. Just a little more volume would be great.
All right, it's as loud as it gets, I think. All right, but I've been thinking about what use cases should be good for Monero, and I'm thinking that where it really shines is I think the XMR chat is a perfect example. It's like something that's very simple, and the payments can be very small. And the thing that's so good about it is that it's so easy, and you get rid of all barriers. You know, I don't have to create an account. I don't have to go through any hassle. And maybe I just want to use it once, and I just use it, and it's done, and it's just perfect like that. And I think there are many, many more things like that that could be you could start to use it for, but people don't think of it because it hasn't been done, because there's never been a way that's that easy and works that well. So I think it's worth to think about what more things like that could be there, like small, simple online services that where you want to perhaps just use a little thing once, and there can be a cost, but it can be really cheap, and it's as easy as just paying with a coin, you know, like you want a newspaper, you put a coin in a machine, you know, like it used to be. So
You're saying things that are fantastic, and I love. Thank you for speaking up. Who knew you would say something? And the reason why is that we're all in it together. And if you think about inventions, what's like some of the best inventions that life has created for humans? Humans are known for their ability to create tools, and the first one is. I don't know. First of all, maybe it might be fire. Humans created fire. Then maybe the wheel. But then next, tribes are playing next to each other, and they create money. The idea of money itself was phenomenal. And what you're saying is very true. It's very true, and I love it. I think we need more of people that are thinking like you. That's what I think. That's my only opinion about it.
Well, thanks. Glad to hear it. Well. So I'd like to encourage everyone to try to think about what kind of use cases like that could there be, and then just try to start to do it. And now on this XMR chat is a perfect example.
I got a perfect one.
I'm sure there's more.
There's this concept of voting with your dollars that hasn't been true like forever, because you got some people next to the money printer. You got some people that don't have the disposable income. You have some people that have already voted with their dollar for other things, but they would love to vote with their dollar for something else. Monero is the perfect use case for the bringing back of voting with your dollar. So a couple of examples would be you have one wallet that's yes, one wallet that's no. And then you have like an allocation in the view key published for both wallets. And whichever one of these reaches a certain number first, you could even weigh it based on, so basically if yes hits, 2x of no and this number. So it's like if yes hits 100 before no hits 50, you see, so like you could have a 2x weighted vote or whatever. Then the following things are going to take place. And what's cool about that is you could even have it locked away in a smart contract of some kind. So it can't just be like used or spent or undermined or whatever. But the anonymity plus the view key plus the microtransactions, you can have people casting, 0.001 vote or, 0.75 vote. So it's both voting with your dollars and put your money where your mouth is. But more importantly, You can put your mouth where your face isn't. So you can make your opinion known without anybody knowing your opinion. Voting is like the ideal use case, in my opinion. And it's one of the reasons why I firmly believe that for smart contracts to be successful, Monero has to be successful. And by the way, I also think another privacy currency or 2 or 3 is absolutely vital. The problem is no one has been able to do what Monero has been able to do. But I keep, holding out on the idea that, maybe Pirate Chain will come around and become like highly adopted, or it's just an example. Like more than just one would be ideal. Even like kind of regionalized a little bit would also be kind of cool, So it's like got 10% adoption in North America and 70% adoption in Africa. And then Monero has 80% in North America and 10% in Africa or something like that, where there's kind of like a free-flowing currency exchange that is constantly equalizing. And that would like amplify the effectiveness of put your money where your mouth is. I did have another one actually, which is the most underutilized element of Monero, in my opinion, as far as what you could do literally right now. Look at what Substack has done for journalism. For those of you who don't know what Substack is, it's basically a way where journalists can publish their work and have a method that they can get paid. And it's very hard to censor. It's very hard to shut them down. But I see it show up lacking. Now, what I would like to see is somebody design a platform that's locally hosted, but you can verify that hosting is using the code base as published somewhere. And then as they're scrolling and more becomes visible on their like graphic output. So if they're reading an article, for example, every time you pull up a new sentence or paragraph, then a predefined amount in a Monero wallet becomes unlocked to the journalist who wrote it. And so you can basically pay a journalist for authorship by the penny. And you can do it in aggregate, in a massive, massive aggregate, allowing people to stay completely away from the corporate shills. And honest, like, it's not even because he's with us, but like I have been thinking this forever, which is, for one, everybody knows that I've been like screaming for a Bawdy show forever. But the thing is how cool would it be where somebody like Bawdy is presenting their thoughts on, finance, macro, but also just like, I had this thought about this news event or whatever, and people could pay him by the minute that they're watching it, and then you could even weigh it where like, if you like it more, then the weight goes up. If you like it less, then the weight goes down. And he can see in real time how people are responding to it based on the flow of Monero. And you can be absolutely certain that this person means what they say because they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. It's not like, oh, I really like what you're saying, Bawdy, and then they go home and they don't use any of it. Or like, you can actually like track the market feedback from what you're doing. Or another thing is you could turn the weights up and down based on what you've been reading. So at the end of each paragraph, it'll have like a little weight sticker if you've read the entire paragraph, and you can dial it up and down. So if you just read like 3 paragraphs and you think it's absolute fire, you could dial it up and be like, I want more of this. But just by virtue of the fact that you kept reading means that at least a certain amount was there. Or another thing is being like, as something is getting paid, you could unlock a token that allows you to make like an anonymous comment on what you've read. So you could filter comment sections, not by user profile, not by publicly available data or centralized, what's their email address BS. It's this person has paid a certain amount to read this article. They've completed it all the way to this point. This token has been generated.
and this comment is linked to a token. And so it's only people who have paid to read it that are now commenting on it. But you didn't have to charge them $5 to read the news article. You charged them 80 cents or something like that. And because they went all the way through to the bottom of the article, they now have a certain like freedom to comment on what they've read. So it's, I mean, that's something that is like ready to go now, based on the fact that XMR chat is working and all this other stuff, and the microtransactions that are available to the Monero blockchain. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks. The great ideas. I realized that I had the wrong mic. It's better now, right?
1,000 times better.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so part of what you said, I guess, it's a bit more. Well, your examples were a bit more advanced than that, but one really simple one is just to get rid of spam, right? I mean, where there's a lot of stuff and you don't know what is fake, you can just filter that out directly by saying, okay, there just have to be a really small payment, just a payment. That can be almost symbolic, and it's enough to get rid of all the spam, right? So it's a really simple thing.
That's kind of like what Tor is doing right now. Tor is adding a proof of work to Tor to reduce the attack surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's already implemented. They did that like last year, I think.
What do you think, Bawdy, about the idea of like micropayments for published work?
I guess, I mean, you can kind of basically do that already, right? Like there's XMR chat. There's a whole bunch of different ways to go about doing that. Honestly, man, I mean, I really think that the main thing is people just have to build. They have to wake up and start disobeying and build the things they want to see. You know, I mean, it's like, I feel like people think that there's some sort of cosmic answer to all this stuff, and there really isn't. Like, you just have to go out there and do the things. And usually that involves actually, like, when you're working, it's hard to be out there like promoting, right? Like it takes time to build stuff. It's not easy to build stuff. So yeah, I mean, you know, definitely we could have more shows and more information, but the reality is, you know, the information's out there, like the stuff that you need to know, like to orient yourself and then make a different life than just the normie life. Like all that's out there.
Yeah, I was thinking anyway that there is something to this. Just the thought that to try to think of more cases where you can really make use of small payments, because that's when the payment is big, then it's more, at least for me personally, it's more acceptable for me to sign up for a thing or, you know, do this hassle, whatever it is. Like perhaps I'm paying for a VPS, a virtual server somewhere, and I pay monthly or even yearly for that. And then if I only pay once a year, and there's an invoice and a thing, and yeah, it's a little annoying, but it's only once a year and it's a big payment. So, okay, I can do that. But now, if you can do really small payments really easily without signing up and doing any hassle, then I could rent the VPS for just 20 minutes, right? Because I needed it for a certain thing, and I could build a thing where I do that when it's needed, and yeah, that could be really useful, I think. Some things become possible when you can do the small things, and because the fees are low, you really can do that.
Another thing about that from a business perspective is the cash flow. When you facilitate microtransactions and you can have immediate settlement, well, in the case of Monero, you know, couple minutes, right? As opposed to waiting for billing cycles to take place. And then, you know, if you have like a massive wave of cancellations, like recuperating that cash flow from onboarding new customers can take a certain amount of time versus micropayments you can see in real time. and there's a time value to the money as well. So people would be willing to pay more if they're paying for what they're using now, because that provides them with the access to the capital that they can use to grow their own cash flow. It would really loosen up the economy to see something like this adopted on a much larger scale. It's sort of like, you know, with the guys that came on for the dice game and stuff like that, where it's like, well, what about a predictions market, right? It's like you're only one step away from a predictions market, and like that's something. Actually, a guy who does like stocks and business acquisition stuff was asking me about the same concept, and I was like, well, imagine what would happen is you could go into the stock market and you could make a certain bet, but then you could hedge your bet on the Monero predictions market. And so you could write off your losses on the one hand, like if your bet doesn't pay out, but then you can capture the gains on the back end with the Monero and just never claim it. Now, I realize that would be illegal, but that's never stopped stock traders from doing shit like that before. Well, what happens to Monero adoption if people start to realize, like, this is my likely bet, this is my Monero bet. If I lose over here and I can't capture the gains, well, at least I have it hedged with Monero and I don't have to claim the wins. You know, it's like, it's just really interesting to me to see how that could affect people's real living experience.
Yeah. Now I see in the chat here that Shortwave Surfer wants to get back in. So if Doug can hear us, can you do that?
I don't think either one of them can, but I'll see what I can get Doug's attention in other ways. So hold on.
Yeah, Doug's probably pieced out. I don't think we can. I don't think we can get him back in. Although I would like for him to get back in.
Right. Meanwhile, I have another question. That is something I thought about, and I was wondering about how it's done with how wallet software is typically dealing with the uncertainty of transactions. I mean, you're not really sure until there's been a number of blocks, right? If there's only one block appears and things look in a certain way, then you can hope that that's how it's going to be. But there can be a what's it called, a reorg, right? So then things look different a few minutes later. And what does a wallet do when you've done a transaction? It will show you, okay, here's your balance right now. And for example, if you received money, it's going to show that, okay, now you received this money, but it could happen that it goes away again. Is that how it looks? Or is it more, how do they typically do that? Do you know?
Well, I know that usually they have multiple balance fields. So anything that's like your available balance is already confirmed by enough blocks where you're probably not going to be subject to a reorg. You know what I'm saying? And then it'll say total balance, and that's based on what it's predicting is going to go into your wallet. And then usually there's like fields for how many confirmations each block that you're waiting on has. But the thing is most people who are using their wallet, all of that kind of just happens underneath the surface, and they just don't even really notice.
Yeah, and as long as no one was trying to do something fishy, then the transaction, you're going to get paid anyway, but in a different block later on. So then you don't need to worry, probably. But yeah, in theory, you could get scammed.
Well, I missed that. You were asking about like zero confirmations?
No, that was not my question now, but I am curious about that too, because that's a thing people talk about, that sometimes zero conf is used, and how can you ever use that? What is that even? Is also a question I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the mining in Monero is reasonably decentralized, and it's really hard to tell. I mean, you can't tell whose transaction is what. So zero conf is usually regarded as sufficient for small amounts. obviously you have to decide what's small for yourself. But the point is that once your transaction has shown up to the network and everyone can see it, effectively, even if the next person doesn't grab that transaction, then the next person will. You would basically have to try to mine a whole bunch of blocks to make zeroconf not work, because again, it's like once that transaction shows up, it's really hard to say, oh wait, don't include that transaction, because someone's eventually going to include it. It's not like perfectly secure. That's a kind of an oversimplification, but in general, for a coffee, for all kinds of stuff, like for example, Nano GPT, I've noticed they do zeroconf. As soon as they see the transaction on the chain, they credit me with the money for GPT or whatever, or for AI LLM access. So yeah, there's other chains where it's like for Bitcoin, for example, they have this thing called replace by fee. So you can actually go in there and then replace your current transaction, your unconfirmed transaction, with a different transaction. So you can't really do zeroconf on Bitcoin. Again, there's like these edge case attacks that you hypothetically could do, where it's like you broadcast your a different transaction to a whole bunch of people and then hope that it doesn't. I mean, it could be done. It's just we haven't seen it in the wild, and it's maybe one day we will. But there's also, if we ever see that in the wild, there are countermeasures against that. They're not as strong, obviously, as getting into an actual block, but I know this kind of like wandering here and there at different places. But yeah, zero confirmation is a pretty secure way to accept Monero for anything that's, say $100 or less, or maybe if $100 is a lot of money to you, then, do one confirmation. But it's hard to attack. You'd have to write your own specialized software. Thus far, no one has done it. And if people did it, we would have other mitigations so that businesses could still accept zero confirmations.
And yeah, because most of the time when people are looking to use a zero confirmation, like let's call it the zero confirmation use case, right? It's somebody buying like $50 or less of value worth the stuff in, like, for example, a shop. There's a physical human physically present, and they're usually scanning a QR code. So like there's all of these other actual physical events taking place in front of you that are lining up with it showing up on the network. And so you're adding layers of complexity to trying to inject one of these kinds of attacks. And you also have like a face to put to the stuff that they're leaving with. So there's all of these additional layers of like how somebody would have to work to try to get away with it. And then you also have to ask yourself, like, the technical competency that it would take for somebody to be this kind of person. They could probably make more money not robbing people for $50 worth of pot or something,
Oh, I'm back.
Hi, welcome back.
Yeah,
thanks for the answer.
And welcome to the show, Chloe. The strong and silent type, I see.
I was gonna say. Yeah, I think my computer just crashed again, so I think might be something with Firefox. I'm trying a different browser to see if that fixes the problem, because Firefox is kind of screwy sometimes. I would accept zeroconf up to two Monero, just for like groceries and stuff like that. But anything over 2 Monero, I'd be like, nah, we're gonna wait for that.
And that's the thing about it, is like everybody just kind of has to set their own risk tolerance, like anything else. But that said, I mean, the risk is like really low, There's a way higher risk of a chargeback on a Visa or something like that.
But it's like you said, right? It depends on if someone starts doing that. I mean, I could make perhaps I would have to make a special software for it then. But I guess the thing to do, if you wanted to exploit that, so to say, then you want to create. I mean, it's what you're doing when you're paying is that you're taking an unspent transaction, right? And you're saying, I'm going to spend this now. I own this, and I'm going to spend it. And then I can create two separate transactions that are spending the same output, and in different ways, right? And I publish both of those, and I do it perhaps from different IP. one. Yeah.
It ends up being probabilistic because, okay, so you would write effectively in a more technical way, like it sounds like you're going that direction. You have to write software that sends two different transactions to the whole network. And because of Dandelion, you get this randomness in terms of which transaction gets, like how that transaction appears on the network. So you would send the same transaction to different peers, and then you would have the network seeing two different versions of that transaction, and you would hope that that the person that you're trying to scam sees the version that looks like it pays them, and then the other and then you would also hope that the other transaction that you created ends up in the rest of the network, some other part of the network that then also gets included in the block as opposed to the scam transaction. So you could probably do some simple math and say, okay, this will succeed. I don't know, let's just say 25% of the time, right? Dividing the network in half, and then maybe 50% of the time. I don't know. And then, so, right, you would have to say, okay, I have to do this 50, I have to do this a number of times. I have to go buy real stuff. I have to find people that are willing to accept zero conf at small enough values and repeat this attack enough times. So, so that it works for me. You're right. It's like, it could be done. Like, it's not that it's not that it's impossible. It's just that, so the other thing on this is that, okay, if someone does that, and if we start seeing this out in the wild, the other thing that you can do is you can look across, you can sample different parts of the network and say, okay, I have a X% confidence that this transaction is not one of those transactions, right? Or you can sample different parts of the network and say, okay, I'm not seeing any other conflicting transactions. Again, it's still probabilistic, but that's like, you could defeat most of it, but you're right. Like, it's still possible in all cases. It's still possible.
Oh, it's absolutely possible. It's just improbable. And if you wanted to make it work, you'd have to do it and then go and quickly mine like blocks and try to fork the network to make it work. And that would be a pain in the ass. Like, it's just not worth doing.
Well, you don't need to fork the network. I don't think you need to fork the network. You just need to have the network see two different mempools. I mean, we don't have a mempool exactly, but you need to see unconfirmed transactions, a different state across the network, and then hope that your transaction gets mined by the other side of that network. But again, just the fact, like, you should be connected into a few different peers, and it, depending on your threat model, if you're just trusting like Cake Wallet's nodes, they could set up monitoring for that. But the point is that you're monitoring many different points in the network. Let's suppose you're connected to 12 different peers, right? If you don't see out of those 12 peers any conflicting versions of the transaction, like if you're the receiver, right? If you're afraid of getting scammed for zero conf, you would say, okay, I see 0 peers with a conflicting version of this transaction. In which case you could be reasonably confident that it wasn't, that they're not going to take your funds, or there's not going to be separate. It's like, it's not as strong as proof of work, obviously, right? Actually getting into a block means they have to actually do the proof of work and reorganize the chain, which is, starts to get ridiculous after a couple blocks to suggest it would even happen.
Perhaps if someone was really sneaky and put a lot of effort into it, then you could try to figure out which nodes different people are connected to, right? And then I'm going to scam you now, so therefore I make sure that this transaction gets visible over here. Things like that.
Yeah, you'd have to target someone to do that. And at some point you have to ask the question, well, is this enough money for me to go through all that trouble, right? If I can actually conduct all of that analysis and target someone, then I could probably do some other things to make a lot more money than say a coffee or $50 or whatever.
Yeah, and if you're a seller and you're going to sell a Ferrari, wait a couple of confirmations. If you're going to sell somebody some like couple $100 worth of groceries for their month to eat, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
And you still have to hope that the randomness lands in your favor. Like, to go all of that distance and then hope that it lands in your favor on top of that, that's a big ask. And what if that guy just gets like a gut feeling and he's like, I'm going to wait for this to confirm. And you're like, no, it has to be zero. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's also the human element too, where like, that guy might know better and just this guy looks like he's up to something. We'll wait a confirmation, and then all of a sudden, like the whole thing goes tits up. You know, like that's like a whole nother layer to like the risk of even trying to pull this off.
Yeah, especially retail, like cashiers and stuff like that. They have an eye for when you're being when you're trying to be, like, a lot of them anyway, have like this sense for when you're being sneaky or whatever. It's like, hold up a second, something doesn't seem right here.
Or like if you're trying to do it, like, you know, you want instant access to a VPS, and then you pay and they accept a 0 confirmation, and then it doesn't go through after 2 confirmations. They just shut you off. You know, congratulations, you got a VPS for, you know, 4 minutes. Like it still doesn't really do anything for you, you know.
I like the idea you guys brought up earlier about those articles where you could just pay to read the article, because I think it's so dumb to see those stupid little paywall pop-ups, and it's like, pay us $5 a month for access to this newspaper or whatever. And it's like, I don't want access to the newspaper. I want access to this one article. And the fact that you could just pay, say, $2 Monero for it, just scan the QR code and pay $2 Monero and read the article.
That seems like the making per person on these ads. I'm gonna look it up right now.
It's like, I don't want to pay $5 because I don't want to subscribe to your thing for an entire month or a year or whatever. I just want to read this one article and go away.
So according to this, bloggers make between 1 penny and 25 cents per page view from display ads, with variations depending on factors like niche, audience targeting, and network.
So basically, yeah, so 10 Monero more than they would get otherwise.
Yeah, so if it was like, if I look at this page for more than a minute, you can have a quarter. You know, like, I could live with that. And just to live an ad-free life. I mean, at some point we need to move away from like the ad-based economy on the internet. It's just total cancer. I hate it. And like already people are you know, how many people use Brave just because of the YouTube ads? You know, how many people are building a pie hole just because they can't stand all of the trash on the internet? Like, people are getting wise to the fact that ads are just cancer and finding ways around it. And the thing is that like all of these Netflixes and all that other stuff, unlimited streaming, will pay $1 bajillion for all of this IP, and then they still end up having to put ads in it. At some point, it would be smarter for Netflix to just be like, you know, 1 hour of watch time equals, you know, 0.001 Monero or something like that. Like, I mean, why not? The people hate ads and all of these subscriptions and stuff. It should just be like, per device, there should be, you know, a drawdown Monero wallet of some kind. So I don't need your ID. I don't need your credit history and all that just to sell you a movie.
I've mentioned that the idea of like having a wallet in your Android phone that's always unlocked, always there, always hot on the internet. And yeah, you don't put much into it, but you put a little bit into it. And if you come across a website that wants a payment for something and you decide it's worth it, click and confirm, like swipe to confirm, and you read the article or watch the movie or whatever and go on about your day. And when the wallet's empty, you refill it with like a little bit. So like the wallet would only allow you to put like 0.1 Monero in it maximum, and anything else above that would automatically get sent to another wallet you specify. It would not allow you to have more than 0.1 in there or something like that.
I would absolutely pay to see this project get developed. And like, I'm with Bawdy on this. Like the amount of things that could be developed right now, just based on the stuff that already exists, is just daunting. And I've long held the position that it's smarter for me to just keep doing what I'm doing and then finance these projects rather than, learn to code. At some point, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and learn about writing code a lot better than I currently do, especially now that you have all of these like super useful vibe coding techniques. Like, I've just got to do it.
Speaking of
Or
vibe,
if somebody out there wants to write the code for this, I will part with some Federal Reserve notes, some Monero, whatever. Write it, get it done.
Chloe's saying that maybe I'm late here. No, he's messaging us in the chat.
Maybe Alaskanon didn't see the message I sent him. My webcam and mic. I prefer to fight with Linux than work. I could wander over to the other house if you want. I feel shy, but sometimes in the service of a more beautiful world. So she's just basically saying, if somebody wants, yeah, come on over if you'd like. It's fine. You're welcome here. You probably know this. It's actually really cool. So we built her a house next door. It's the people want to see Chloe. Come on over.
I don't know when Doug will want to end the show though, because I know he's on vacation and he's already ducked out once, I think. So
he's not coming back. He didn't tell me that, but I doubt he's going to be.
Well, he's the only admin. So if he doesn't come back, we could just stream for 10 hours if we wanted to.
Maybe we could if we wanted to. If you guys want to, I'm going to duck out here. It's about 1 o'clock, so
I'm supposed to go to a birthday party for, I think, 2-year-old or 3-year-old. I don't know.
Hey guys, I've been listening in. I'll go ahead and close it out.
Okay. I just assumed that your internet disappeared or something.
Yeah.
All right. Great show, guys. Do these shows every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern. This week we pushed it up an hour. We do the same thing next week. We shall see. Thank you for everybody that jumped up on stage. And see you guys next week. Thank you. Thank you, Bawdy. Thank you, Alaska.
Later.
God bless you guys.
Thank you, Shortwave. All right. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and ODYSEE, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.